Chapter 1407. Rumble. Lu Wu rushed out from the ground in the distance, coughing up blood. His eyes were filled with shock and disbelief, and there was also a trace of hidden passion and greed. He looked extremely miserable at the moment. There was a huge bloody hole in his chest, and his body looked like it had been shattered. However, as Lu Wu continued to devour the energy of heaven and earth, his shattered flesh began to wriggle and gradually recovered. His aura also gradually strengthened. Ling Xiao could feel that there was an incomparably mysterious power in Lu Wu's body. It was ancient and majestic, and such a serious injury was completely healed in the blink of an eye. You also have that scripture on you. Lu Wu's voice was a little hoarse, but his eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Although Ling Xiao had used the Sutra of Ages very vaguely, he could still feel the power of time. That was why he was able to break through the power of imprisonment in an instant. Although the others didn't understand what Lu Wu was saying, Ling Xiao instantly understood. So, you also have it. Ling Xiao said calmly. His eyes were a little strange. Although the Sutra of Ages was passed down by the Scarlet Dragon War God, it was only an incomplete scripture. Until today, when he met Lu Wu, Ling Xiao finally understood that Lu Wu also had the Sutra of Ages. It seems that I have really underestimated you. Perfect heavenly god realm cultivation, and you also have that scripture. You have a big secret. Originally, I didn't want to take your life so quickly. But now, it seems that you have another reason to die. Lu Wu said coldly, his eyes were filled with undisguised killing intent. Oh. Is it because of that scripture? But are you so sure that you can kill me? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he said indifferently. After reaching the perfect heavenly god realm, Ling Xiao could be said to be invincible in the same realm. Not to mention Lu Wu, even senior brother Tiangang Ling Xiao could defeat him. However, Lu Wu still dared to say such words after seeing Ling Xiao's full strength. It meant that Lu Wu still had a trump card in his hand. Anyone who obtains that scripture, other than me, must die. Lu Wu stared at Ling Xiao, and his body began to emit an extremely terrifying aura. Rumble. The wind and clouds stirred as Lu Wu's Godforce soared. Vast amounts of law energy gathered around him and his aura instantly broke through the bottleneck of the Great Circle Heavenly God Realm, reaching the God King Realm. Divine kings were the kings of gods, and also the kings of heaven and earth. They were able to dominate the divine Tao, and their strength was incomparably powerful, far surpassing heavenly deity realm experts. Everyone's expression could not help but change. They had never thought that Lu Wu would actually break through to God King at this moment. Did he use some kind of secret technique? Even if I can temporarily break through to the Divine King realm, I'm afraid there will be a backlash, right? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he said indifferently. He could sense that Lu Wu had not truly broken through to God King. Instead, he had used some sort of secret technique to increase his cultivation temporarily. However, secret techniques like that usually came with an extremely great price. Even if there is a backlash, it's enough to kill you. A cruel look appeared in Lu Wu's eyes as the ancient sword in his hand shone brightly. His entire body exuded a vast and majestic sword intent as the ancient sword slashed down towards Ling Xiao. Boom! It was as though the surrounding void was trembling at this moment. Boundless laws filled the air, causing the void to become unstable. Sword chi spread out in all directions, forming a sword domain as it rushed towards Ling Xiao from all directions. After increasing his cultivation to God King realm, Lu Wu seemed to have broken through some kind of shackles, causing his combat strength to increase by more than 10 times. The great wilderness sword Dao shone brightly at this moment. Ling Xiao's eyes were incomparably sharp as the sword rain that filled the sky fell towards him. It was as though he had come to an ancient desolate land, where the heavens and earth were shattered and the void was in chaos. It was as though it wanted to turn him into dust. Boom! A sound similar to a dragon's roar erupted from Ling Xiao's body as his golden blood rose. The 5 little suns in his chest spurted out like a furnace that smelted the surrounding heavens and earth. He raised his palm and slammed it towards Lu Wu. The 5 little suns in his chest turned into a vast power of the 5 elements, gathered in his palm, and formed a majestic world of the 5 elements. This palm seemed to have destroyed the heavens and earth, recreating the chaos and splitting the 5 elements into eternity. This was the 5 elements sky ceiling style. The roar of a dragon, the cry of a phoenix, the roar of a tiger, the cry of a tortoise, and the majestic auspicious aura of a qilin. At this moment, the 5 elements sacred beasts circled around Ling Xiao's body, making him look like an immortal heavenly emperor that wanted to destroy all enemies. Rumble. The sword qi that filled the sky was turned into dust by Ling Xiao's palm. Finally, it slammed heavily on the ancient sword. Buzz. The ancient sword hummed as unparalleled divine power surged out. Lu Wu's body trembled as the ancient sword in his hand flew out. Even though he had overestimated Ling Xiao's combat strength, the 5 elements sky ceiling style still caused the surrounding heavens and earth to lose their color. However, Lu Wu's eyes were still incomparably deep. An ancient compass appeared in his palm. It looked like some kind of ancient stone that exuded ancient intent and Tao rhymes, intertwining with countless mysterious runes. The ancient compass suddenly bloomed with millions of rays of light that shot up into the sky. An incomparably vast and terrifying power of time stirred the void in all directions, causing the heavens and earth to come to a standstill in an instant. At this moment, whether it was Xian Wang, Yi Liangqian, Bai Susu, the Black Donkey, Lu Wenqing, or Lu Yan, they were all frozen in place. Regardless of whether it was their physical body, primordial spirit, or thoughts, they were all frozen in place. Time had stopped. If it was said that Lu Wu had only used a trace of the power of time previously, he was now the heavenly emperor that controlled time, causing the entire world to stop for him. Ling Xiao was facing a huge crisis. This was because the main target of the terrifying power of time was him. Therefore, his entire body was frozen in the posture of punching out at this moment. The power of time, not to mention you, even a sage would not be able to resist it. Don't worry, I will inherit everything you have and even completely control the Sutra of Time in the end. Lu Wu's eyes were filled with fanaticism as he walked in front of Ling Xiao. Buzz. The ancient sword in his hand trembled slightly, exuding an unparalleled sharpness as it pierced towards Ling Xiao's forehead. Lu Wu wanted to completely kill Ling Xiao. However, the ancient sword did not pierce through. Chapter 1408. Do you know? Many people die because they talk too much. You talk too much. Ling Xiao said coldly. Ling Xiao said indifferently. His eyes were deep, but they revealed a blazing sharpness. Boom! It was as if a small sun had exploded in Ling Xiao's palm. At that moment, Ling Xiao's body exploded with terrifying divine power. Behind him, boundless divine light rose, and a peerless god of war appeared. Although the face was blurry, it was somewhat similar to Ling Xiao. Moreover, the god of war was standing on a huge golden dragon that spiraled tens of thousands of feet in length. The aura of the god of war and the aura of the dragon clan seemed to form a perfect balance on Ling Xiao's body. That was the power of the indestructible war body and the divine dragon body. At that moment, Ling Xiao seemed to have transformed into a peerless god of war. That terrifying aura seemed to be able to destroy everything. Lu Wu's expression changed drastically. Boom! Ling Xiao's palms exploded, and the ancient sword was directly sent flying by Ling Xiao. A terrifying palm print enveloped the surrounding void, and directly slammed into Lu Wu's body. Poof! This time, Lu Wu was not so lucky. Speaking of which, his physical body was not strong. After all, he only cultivated the primordial spirit and the great wilderness sword principle. He did not cultivate the indestructible war body. Therefore, Ling Xiao's palm directly shattered his physical body. Terrifying waves radiated in all directions, forming a majestic divine light storm. The world symbol, which was already on the verge of collapsing, exploded at this moment, and everyone reappeared in front of High Heaven Pavilion. Whoosh! The ancient compass in the void was extremely intelligent. It seemed to want to escape at that moment, but it was caught in Ling Xiao's palm. The compass contained an extremely majestic power of time. It struggled to escape from Ling Xiao's hand, but Ling Xiao directly absorbed it into the wordless heavenly book. With the wordless heavenly book suppressing it, no matter how strange the compass was, it could not do anything to Ling Xiao. Speaking of which, Ling Xiao had walked on the edge of life and death. If the wordless heavenly book had not broken through the power of time that enveloped Ling Xiao, he probably would not have been able to resist Lu Wu's killing move. Even Ling Xiao did not expect that strange compass to be so terrifying that it could stop time. Those who were in that domain were almost like lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Cough cough, bastard, return the time compass to me. Lu Wu's physical body had been destroyed, but his soul had managed to survive. He directly absorbed the energy of the world around him and condensed a new body. However, his presence had become much weaker, and he coughed up blood. His gaze towards Ling Xiao was filled with frenzied killing intent. The time compass was obtained by Lu Wu along with the time scripture. It was incomparably precious as it could create a time-stop domain. Lu Wu had even used the time compass to kill 2 divine king experts who coveted him. Now that he had used it on Ling Xiao, he only had 1 or 2 more uses left. This was a life-saving treasure, so how could he not be anxious? Lu Wu, you can't even protect your own life, and you still want the time compass? I think you should just obediently accept your death. Ling Xiao's gaze was incomparably cold. The killing intent in his heart rose to the extreme. Whoosh! He did not hesitate at all. The Xian Kun sword shone brightly and turned into a snow-white blade light, slashing down towards Lu Wu. Since the world charm had been destroyed, the situation here would definitely be discovered by the elders of the academy. At that time, it would not be so easy to kill Lu Wu. He might as well take advantage of this opportunity to kill Lu Wu directly. Lu Wu's heart trembled. He instantly turned into a stream of light and quickly moved to the side. At the same time, he took out his ancient sword and blocked the Xian Kun sword. Boom! Lu Wu's ancient sword was only a half-saint treasure. How could it block the full force of the Xian Kun sword? A terrifying holy light exploded, and the ancient sword exploded. The resplendent runes shattered, forming a dazzling rain of light. A half-saint treasure was completely destroyed by the Xian Kun sword. Lu Wu did not have time to care about his loss. He desperately dodged the Xian Kun sword's killing blow. Damn it! Lu Wu's face was extremely ugly. He stared at Ling Xiao as if he was spitting fire. Until now, he still could not figure out how Ling Xiao was not affected by the time stop and was able to dodge his killing blow. One had to know that the time compass was incomparably precious. According to Lu Wu's guess, not to mention a divine king, even a saint would not be able to escape from it. However, Ling Xiao dodged it. Lu Wu felt that Ling Xiao was becoming more and more unfathomable. Was that time stop? I felt that my primordial spirit and thoughts were imprisoned. How could Lu Wu be so strong? Fang Xing's face was filled with an extremely ugly expression. He was also extremely angry. If Ling Xiao had not broken through the time-stop domain, Lu Wu would have killed all of them to ensure that the secret would not be leaked. How could Lu Wu be so strong? This must be the effect of that strange compass. Yi Liangchen was also a little scared. Time was a forbidden power. Other than the legendary ancient emperors, no one dared to say that they could control the power of time. At most, they could only use a little bit of it. That compass was strange. The feeling of their primordial spirit and thoughts being imprisoned made everyone's hair stand on end. They did not want to try it again. Long Outyen, kill these bastards. Damn it, how dare they trick me? Black Donkey was the most vengeful. He looked at Lu Wu, Lu Wenqing, and Lu Yan with an unfriendly gaze. Lu Wenqing and Lu Yan's faces were extremely ugly. Their eyes were filled with unconcealable fear. Ling Xiao's strength was too terrifying. They did not expect that Lu Wu would not be Ling Xiao's opponent even after using all his means. Moreover, he was completely at a disadvantage and was heavily injured by Ling Xiao. If Ling Xiao continued to attack, the three of them would probably die here. Long Outyen. You. What are you trying to do? This is Ares College. How dare you beat up your seniors? Do you want to die? Lu Yen stared at Ling Xiao and said fiercely, trying to scare Ling Xiao. After all, the world amulet was destroyed. Lu Yen and Lu Wenqing felt more confident in their hearts. In the college, Ling Xiao dared to kill Lu Wu. Even the dean would not tolerate him. Moreover, Lu Yen had already informed his grandfather, Lu Fang. Lu Fang would be here soon. With the vice dean, Lu Fang, around, Long Outyen would have some scruples. What am I trying to do? Shouldn't you be the one asking this? Didn't you want my life? But now it seems that you won't be able to take my life, but I'm afraid you will have to leave your lives behind. Chapter 1409. Long Outyen, I admit defeat. However, you can't kill me in the academy. I'll remember this. I'll kill you with my own hands one day. Lu Wu's eyes were cold as he stared at Ling Xiao. Boom! A beam of divine light shot up into the sky from his body and exploded in the void. It was like a brilliant heavenly thunder that shook the surroundings. Many disciples of the academy had already noticed the commotion and some of them had even started to rush over. Lu Wu believed that it was impossible for Ling Xiao to make a move here. Moreover, Ling Xiao could not kill him. Speaking of which, Lu Wu felt somewhat fortunate. If it weren't for the fact that Ling Xiao's final strike was so terrifying that even the world symbol exploded, he would have been trapped in a cocoon and killed by Ling Xiao. I can't kill you. What a joke. Could it be that you think you can keep your life in the academy? Ling Xiao sneered and the mysterious Kun sword in his hand lit up once again. Buzz! Holy brilliance filled the air and sword chi soared. The aura around Ling Xiao became extremely terrifying. A cold killing intent locked onto Lu Wu. Lu Wu's face changed. He didn't expect Ling Xiao to continue attacking him. However, he knew that he wasn't Ling Xiao's opponent. If Ling Xiao really attacked, he could only run for his life. Rumble. At this moment, a vast and majestic aura exploded and an old man in a crimson robe appeared in the void. His face was ruddy and his face was hale and hearty. He looked extremely majestic and his eyes were deep and sharp like an eagle. No one dared to look at him directly. He was Vice Dean Lu Fang and Lu Yan's grandfather. Grandfather, you're finally here. Long Outyen is too arrogant. He ignored the academy's ban and injured senior brother Lu in private. You must punish him severely. When Lu Yen saw Lu Fang, he immediately flew toward Lu Fang as if he had seen his savior. His eyes were filled with anger. He was the one who complained first and put all the blame on Ling Xiao. You're talking nonsense. It was Lu Wu who used the world symbol to kill junior brother Long. However, he wasn't junior brother Long's match and lost to him. Vice Principal Lu, we can all testify for junior brother Long. Fang Sheng's eyes were filled with rage. He was so angry that he was about to tremble. This Lu Yen was truly despicable and shameless, causing everyone to be filled with righteous indignation. Lu Wenqing bowed deeply to Lu Fang and said, Vice Principal Lu, my big brother didn't want to kill Long Outyen, he just came to ask about my father. But this bastard not only killed our father, he also wants to kill my big brother to silence him. Vice Dean Lu, please uphold justice for us. Lu Wenqing's face was filled with grief, and his eyes were filled with anger. The eyes of the surrounding disciples were filled with doubt. They had not seen the battle between Ling Xiao and Lu Wu, so they did not know which side was real. However, they heard a piece of news. Long Outyen injured Lu Wu. This was big news that could shake the entire Ares College. Who was Lu Wu? The Black Tortoise King, who was ranked 9th on the Hidden Dragon rank, was extremely powerful. It was even rumored that he had received the inheritance of an ancient saint, which greatly increased his power. This time, there was even a chance for him to get into the top 3 of the hidden dragon rank. Therefore, he was the most popular candidate that everyone was paying attention to. But what no one expected was that he was injured by Long Outyen. Long Outyen was a new disciple who had just entered the school 3 years ago. Although he had defeated Chu Yunfei, it did not attract much attention. Now that everyone was told that Long Outyen had injured Lu Wu, everyone felt as if they were dreaming and could not believe it. After all, Ling Zhao's deeds in the god and devil space had not been spread out. Lu Fang's eyes were cold as he looked at Ling Zhao and said, "Long Outyen, you dared to break the rules and hurt Lu Wu without permission. Do you know your crime?" Lu Fang's voice was like thunder, and his face was dignified. He directly put a big label on Ling Zhao. Everyone's heart trembled. They knew that Lu Fang was determined to cover up for his grandson and Lu Wu. Ling Zhao smiled. However, his smile was somewhat cold as he stared at Lu Fang and said, "Vice Principal Lu, are you deaf? Senior brother Fang just said that Lu Wu wanted to kill me, and I was only forced to fight back. I really don't know what crime I committed. As the vice principal, are you going to cover up for them? How dare you?" Lu Fang's eyes flashed coldly as he stared at Ling Zhao and said, "You said that Lu Wu wanted to kill you? Do you have proof? Lu Wu was injured by you, and this is very clear. I hope you don't quibble and admit your crime obediently. Maybe you can get lenient treatment." Ha ha ha. Vice Principal Lu, are you out of your mind? They can all testify for me. It was Lu Wu who took out the world talisman and wanted to kill me. Why do you listen to your grandson's words and not believe us? Even if you want to bend the law for your own benefit, you don't have to do it so obviously, right? Ling Zhao was so angry that he laughed. His eyes were full of ridicule. He really did not put Lu Fang in his eyes. This old man's strength was far inferior to Elder Han Li's, but he only knew how to abuse his power. It seemed like he was used to being high and mighty. "TCH, you still have the nerve to be the vice principal? If you are not fair, we will complain to the vice principal." Yi Liangqin sneered. "That's right. Let your vice principal take out this piece of trash. It can be considered as cleansing the school's atmosphere." Black Donkey laughed, revealing a mouthful of front teeth. There was a strange look in the eyes of the surrounding people. Lu Fang was used to abusing his power in the school. Even if they had any opinions, they would only discuss it in private. They would not dare to stand up for Ling Zhao. "Long Outyen, how dare you insult your teacher and not follow the rules? You are simply arrogant to the extreme. Kneel down and accept your punishment obediently." Lu Fang's eyes turned cold, and a powerful aura suppressed Ling Zhao. Ling Zhao's words were not polite at all. It was as if he had slapped Lu Fang twice. Lu Fang was instantly enraged, and a trace of cold killing intent appeared in his heart. He also knew that Ling Zhao did not have any background. Even if Ling Zhao's talent was not bad, and he could even injure Lu Wu, it was still not enough for him to take him seriously. Could it be that a mere celestial deity realm cultivation could defeat him, a god king? Lu Fang had already decided to teach this brat a lesson and let him know how powerful he was. Unfortunately, although his divine king aura was very strong, it did not affect Ling Zhao at all. He did not even need to use the wordless heavenly book. It was like a gentle breeze to him. "Lu Fang, don't abuse your power here. I am not a soft persimmon that you can bully. If you don't want to die, get out of here." Ling Zhao's eyes turned cold as he stared at Lu Fang coldly. He knew that with Lu Fang present, he wouldn't be able to kill Lu Wu today. However, Lu Fang was brazenly protecting Lu Wu against him. This made him angry in his heart. Lu Fang didn't hesitate to attack him. Chapter 14:10. Everyone's expression was one of shock. No matter what, Lu Fang was the vice principal of the college, a veteran divine king expert with unparalleled strength. Long Outyen dared to speak to Lu Fang in such a manner. Was he not afraid that Lu Fang would kill him out of anger? After all, the rules of Aries College were very strict. It was a big crime for a disciple to insult the vice principal. Everyone's expression was very strange as they looked at Lu Fang. Lu Fang's expression instantly became incomparably cold, and a deep killing intent surged in his eyes. Long Outyen, you dare to insult your teacher. You're so stubborn. Today, I have no choice but to capture you. Boom! A terrifying aura emitted from Lu Fang's body. He slammed his palm towards Ling Xiao, and a vast illusory mountain seemed to appear around him. That palm print covered the sky like an immemorial divine mountain, unparalleled in strength. This was one of the 9 ultimate techniques, the 5 divine mountain palms. It contained the weight and ferocity of a mountain, and was extremely powerful. Moreover, coupled with Lu Fang's divine king cultivation, this palm print had an extremely terrifying power. Everyone couldn't help but tremble. Lu Fang actually used the 5 divine mountain palms. How was he trying to capture Ling Xiao? He was simply trying to kill Ling Xiao with a single palm. Ling Xiao's eyes also revealed a trace of killing intent. Light blossomed from his body as if there were 5 small suns erupting from his chest. Boundless blood energy rose, and Ling Xiao's aura became unfathomable. His eyes were as bright as the sun and moon as he suddenly punched towards Lu Fang. The immortal battle body completely erupted. Ling Xiao's immortal battle body had been cultivated to the peak of the 4th level, and he was only 1 step away from the triple deity transformation dragon. Even when Lu Wu circulated the mixed elements unity qi, he was still unable to withstand Ling Xiao's full force attack. It was clear how terrifying his battle prowess was. Bang! The void shook violently as the golden palm print and the golden fist print collided. It was like 2 immemorial divine mountains colliding, and an earth-shattering energy fluctuation erupted. A terrifying sound wave radiated outwards and actually swept away many of the surrounding disciples. Each of them felt their blood boil and their eyes were filled with shock. As for Ling Xiao, he was thrown out of the dazzling divine light. Although his qi and blood were in turmoil, he did not suffer any injuries. It could be said that Lu Fang's 5 mountain godly palms had failed. Late Divine King Realm. It's a pity that he's lived like a dog. Ling Xiao's eyes became more and more dazzling, and his fighting spirit soared. He stared at Lu Fang with a sharp gaze. What? Lu Fang's eyes shook, and his face became extremely unsightly. He was a mighty late god king, yet not only did he fail to suppress Ling Xiao with the 5 divine palms, Ling Xiao had nullified it so easily. He immediately felt utterly humiliated. He, an old fellow who only knows how to take advantage of his seniority. For such a person to become the vice principal, it's simply a disgrace. The black donkey sneered, not bothering to be polite at all. I knew Big Brother was very powerful. What does a mere Lu Fang count for? Why don't we beat this old thing to death and show these bastards our strength? Yi Liangqin chuckled, and he was eager to give it a try. Lu Wu, Lu Wenqing, and Lu Yan's faces were incomparably ugly, and their faces were filled with shock. A great heavenly god was able to contend with a late divine king Lu Fang. Long Outyen's talent was too monstrous. The surrounding disciples could not help but compare Ling Xiao with Big Dipper Sr. Some of them even thought that Ling Xiao's strength might not be weaker than Big Dipper Sr. However, Ling Xiao had just entered Aries College for 3 years, and his speed of improvement was too terrifying. Long Outyen, you're courting death. Lu Fang was a little angry, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. The aura around him completely erupted at this moment. A terrifying flame spread out from his body, making him look like a flame godly king that controlled the laws of fire in the heavens and earth. He was majestic and mysterious. However, at this moment, a lazy voice resounded in the void. Lu Fang, you've been living like a dog, haven't you? As the vice principal, how dare you get angry with a disciple? Are you trying to tear down the entire college? A light flashed in the void, and an old man with white hair and a large wine gourd on his back appeared. He was wearing a tattered robe, and he looked at Lu Fang lazily. Grand uncle, why are you here? When Lu Fang saw the old man in front of him, the aura that he had gathered with great difficulty dissipated instantly. Although his face was ugly, he still spoke respectfully. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. This old man was the arena elder. However, Ling Zhao hadn't expected the arena elder's seniority to be so high that even Lu Fang had to address him as martial granduncle. Moreover, Ling Zhao could sense that the battle stage elder in front of him was only a clone. However, the sense of danger that he gave Ling Zhao was far greater than Lu Fang's. Could he be? Ling Zhao's eyes narrowed, but he quickly regained his composure. The battle stage elder seemed to have noticed Ling Zhao's gaze. He looked at him and scolded jokingly, "You little brat, you only know how to cause trouble. You actually dared to fight with the vice principal. Why don't you go back and reflect on your mistakes?" Lu Fang's mouth twitched. Lu Wu, Lu Wenqing, and the others were instantly enraged. Ling Zhao dared to fight with the vice principal. According to the sect's rules, he would definitely be severely punished. However, the battle stage elder had brushed it off with a few words. Reflect on one's mistakes in seclusion. What kind of punishment was that? However, Lu Wu knew how terrifying the battle stage elder was. He was one of the two pillars of Ares College. Like the martial treasury elder, it would not be an exaggeration to say that he was the grand elder of the college. However, the two of them usually did not care about worldly affairs. One was guarding the battle stage, while the other was guarding the martial treasury tower. However, even the vice principal was very respectful to them. If the battle stage elder insisted on protecting Ling Zhao, even Lu Fang would not dare to say anything. Elder, it was Vice Principal Lu who did not distinguish between right and wrong. He protected Lu Wu, who wanted to kill me. This disciple did not do anything wrong. Please uphold justice. Ling Zhao looked at the battle stage elder and said indifferently. Everyone was slightly stunned. This Long Outyen did not know how to appreciate favors, right? The battle stage elder had clearly sided with him and only punished him to go back and reflect on his mistakes in seclusion. However, this brat was still unwilling to let it go. This was simply embarrassing the battle stage elder. The battle stage elder would not be angry and kill this bastard with a single slap, right? Some disciples thought maliciously. Brat, then what do you want to do? The battle stage elder said helplessly. However, he was not as angry as everyone thought. Elder, for your sake, I will not pursue the matter with Vice Principal Lu. However, Lu Wu wanted to kill me. He must give me an explanation. Chapter 14:11. Hearing Ling Zhao's words, Lu Fang's lungs were about to explode. His entire body was trembling, and his face was flushed red. He wanted nothing more than to slap Ling Zhao to death. What did he mean by not pursuing the matter with Vice Dean Lu? Who did this bastard think he was? If not for the presence of the arena elder, Lu Fang would have gone berserk. Lu Wu and Lu Wenqing's eyes were cold, and their hearts were filled with rage and killing intent. Did Long Outyen really want to kill them all? With the abilities of the arena elder, it was extremely easy for him to find out whether Lu Wu had attacked Ling Zhao or not. Thus, Lu Wu did not try to refute him. What kind of explanation do you want? The arena elder asked. It's simple. First, let Lu Wu rebuild the High Heaven Pavilion to its original state. Secondly, during the generational competition, I want to fight Lu Wuxing to the death and settle the grudge between us. Ling Zhao said indifferently. The arena elder frowned and slowly said, there is no problem with your first request, but you are both students of Ares College. Why must you fight to the death? You should know that after the generational competition is the Academy's tournament of the 100 Academies. The Academy is still waiting for you to win glory for the Academy. After all, Lu Wu's talent was well known, and the arena elder was considering the situation from Ares College's perspective. It was understandable that he didn't want Ling Zhao to kill Lu Wu. Moreover, Ling Zhao's second request wasn't really a request. After all, the generational competition already had a death match. If Ling Zhao fought Lu Wu to the death, no one would be able to stop him. Elder, Lu Wu hates me to the bone. The two of us can't coexist. Ling Xiao said resolutely. No matter what, Lu Wu had to die. Even if Ling Xiao wasn't afraid of him, leaving such an unstable factor alive wasn't a good thing for Ling Xiao. It would only add to his troubles. Ling Xiao wanted to crush this trouble to death. Fine. I agree to both of your requests. Before the arena elder could say anything, Lu Wu suddenly stood up and agreed. His eyes were cold and deep, as if they contained an endless abyss. He stared at Ling Xiao and said, Long out Yen, the generational competition will be a death match. Big brother. Lu Wenqing, on the other hand, was a little anxious. Although he was full of confidence in Lu Wu previously, Ling Xiao's battle strength was too terrifying. Even Lu Wu, who had used all his means, was still defeated so easily. His heart was filled with worry, and he instinctively wanted Lu Wu to reject. Don't worry. Lu Wu glanced at Lu Wenqing and gave him a reassuring look. Very good. Lu Wu, you know that only one of us can survive, so wash your neck and wait for me in the generational competition. Ling Xiao glanced at Lu Wu and said. Perhaps other people thought that Ling Xiao and Lu Wu were fighting to the death because of their father's death, but only Ling Xiao and Lu Wu knew that the main reason was their menstrual cycle. Both of them wanted to steal each other's menstrual cycle. Alright, since you all agree, then I won't stop you. But you're too good at causing trouble. Before the generational competition, you'd better know your place. Don't cause any more trouble. The elder looked at Ling Xiao helplessly, but the last sentence seemed to have a hidden meaning, which made Lu Fang's expression turn even uglier. After he finished speaking, the elder's body flashed and he disappeared in front of everyone. Humph. Lu Fang looked coldly at Ling Xiao, and the killing intent in his eyes seemed to have materialized. However, he did not continue to attack Ling Xiao. Instead, he turned around and left with Lu Yan. The crowd also left in twos and threes, but they still looked at Ling Xiao with reverence. Other than the fact that Ling Xiao's battle prowess was unparalleled, more importantly, it was because the arena elder was obviously biased. Even Lu Fang had to call the elder martial uncle. The elder's seniority was so high that it could scare people to death. With such a huge backer, it was likely that no one in Aries College would be able to touch Ling Xiao. You guys look after Lu Wu. Let him restore the High Heaven Pavilion to its original state. I'll be back soon. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he said a few words to Xian Wang, Yi Liangchen, and the rest. He then turned around and flew into the distance. Just now, the elder had transmitted a message to him, asking him to meet at the sacred battle arena. In the valley where the sacred battle arena was located, there was an ancient pine tree, a stone table, 2 stone stools, and 2 white-haired elders. Ling Xiao's eyes were startled. He did not expect that the elder and Wu Zong would both be here. Brat, come and sit. After seeing Ling Xiao, the elder on the arena waved his hand at him. Ling Xiao walked over and sat down at the stone table. There were 3 glass cups on the stone table. They looked crystal clear and were not ordinary objects. The elder directly picked up the large wine gourd behind him and poured 3 cups of wine. The wine was sparkling and translucent, revealing a crimson-red color. It was like a flowing flame, containing a rich fragrance, causing Ling Xiao to feel greatly refreshed with just a whiff. Come. Try the old ghost's blue sea blazing wine. The old ghost is too stingy. Even I have only drunk it a few times. Elder Wuzong smiled and picked up the glass cup. He sniffed it in an intoxicated manner and drank it in one gulp. Great. Elder Wuzong said with a smile. His eyes lit up as he looked at the elder on the stage. Last cup. The elder poured another cup for Wuzong and then covered the wine gourd like it was a treasure. He refused to take it out again. Thank you, elder. Although Ling Xiao did not know the intentions of the 2 elders, he knew that the blue sea blazing wine was not ordinary. He did not stand on ceremony and drank it in one gulp. Boom. Ling Xiao felt a cold current enter his body from his throat. It was like a glass of ice water on a hot day. He felt cool from the inside out. It was extremely satisfying. However, after the blue sea blazing wine entered Ling Xiao's stomach, it became extremely hot in an instant. It was like a raging flame burning from the inside out of Ling Xiao's stomach. It burned towards his flesh, meridians, bones, and acupoints. In the end, it directly penetrated his limbs and gushed out from his pores. Ling Xiao felt as if he had gone through a baptism. His body seemed to have been tempered. In the combination of cold and hot energy, his body became more transparent and his qi and blood became denser. Good wine. It's really satisfying. Ling Xiao's eyes lit up. The blue sea blazing wine contained more energy than the white drop of holy liquid. It seemed to be able to enhance the strength of his body. It strengthened his body a little, and he was one step closer to the 5th level of the undying war body. Ling Xiao's body was already extremely terrifying. It was as difficult as ascending to heaven to increase his strength. Chapter 14:12. Thank you, Elder. Ling Xiao said seriously to the elder on the stage. You're welcome. I didn't expect you to reach such a high level in just 3 years after you got the undying war body. That's unbelievable. The elder on the stage exclaimed. When he passed the undying battle body to Ling Xiao 3 years ago, he didn't expect Ling Xiao to be so powerful. After all, even Big Dipper, who was said to be unparalleled in talent, took more than 100 years to cultivate the undying battle body to level 4. I was just lucky. I had a fortuitous encounter in the God-Fiend space. Ling Xiao smiled. Although he didn't interact much with the elder on the stage and Wuzong, he couldn't help but feel close to them. This deepened his guess. You don't have to be humble. I've heard some things about you in the God-Fiend space. To be able to force Ji Jun and Ji Yuanlong to kneel and apologize, you're indeed fierce. Ha ha ha. But I like it. The elder on the stage said with a smile. Wuzong glanced at Ling Xiao and said, with your current combat strength, it shouldn't be a problem for you to be in the top 3 of the Hidden Dragon leaderboard. You can even fight with Big Dipper. We don't have to worry about the generational competition. However, we would like to ask you a serious question. As soon as Elder Wuzong finished speaking, the arena elder's expression turned solemn. Oh. What's the question? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat as he calmly asked. With your current strength, it shouldn't be a problem for you to enter the War God Hall after the generational competition. However, there are 9 branches in the War God Hall. Have you thought about which branch you want to join? The gazes of Elder Wu Chang and the battle arena elder landed on Ling Xiao's body with faint anticipation. Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. He had thought of many things, but he didn't answer directly. Instead, he asked, in your opinion, which branch should I join? The 9 branches of the War God Hall were the War Temple, Sky Temple, Earth Temple, Yin Temple, Yang Temple, Wind Temple, Thunder Temple, Fire Temple, and Mountain Temple. These 9 branches weren't a secret. Almost everyone knew about them. The current master of the War God Hall was a war god from the Sky Hall. Therefore, the Sky Hall was the strongest of the 9 factions. The legendary War God Hall was now incomparably weak. Although Ling Xiao had some guesses in his heart, he was still cautious and did not voice them out. The 2 elders looked at each other and said in a serious tone, the battle hall is the most suitable place for you. Oh. Elder, I've heard that battle hall has weakened, and many of its disciples have joined the other 8 factions. Battle Hall's Supreme Saint Treasure, the Sky-Flipping Seal, still has no master, so the position of Battle Hall's master is still vacant. Elder, why do you think Battle Hall is most suitable for me? Ling Xiao smiled and asked in a non-committal manner. The elder slowly said, Long Outyen, your physical body is extremely strong. It's the strongest we've seen in our lives. Moreover, you've already cultivated the immortal battle body to the peak of the 4th level. It won't be long before you break through to the 5th level. Once you're in Battle Hall, you can continue to cultivate the Indestructible Saint technique. The Indestructible Saint technique is the strongest saint technique in the War God Hall. If you can cultivate the indestructible saint technique, you'll be able to sweep through everyone. It's even possible for your physical body to become a saint. Moreover, you'll have a great chance of obtaining the sky-flipping seal's recognition. At that time, you'll become the master of Battle Hall, standing on the same level as the other 8 factions. If you can revitalize Battle Hall, it's not impossible for you to become the next war god. The elder's words were very provocative, and he was speaking the truth. The indestructible saint technique was indeed the strongest saint technique in the war god hall. It had unparalleled offensive power and an invincible physical body. The sky-flipping seal was indeed a supreme saint treasure. If he could obtain the sky-flipping seal's recognition, even the war god wouldn't be able to stop Ling Xiao from becoming the master of Battle Hall. However, the indestructible saint technique was extremely difficult to cultivate. Even in the entire War God Hall, there were only a few people who could cultivate it to minor completion. Not a single person could cultivate it to greater completion. This was because the indestructible saint technique required one's physical body to reach greater completion. However, not to mention the War God Hall, even in the entire God world, there were only a few people who could reach saint physique. It was thousands of times more difficult than reaching God physique. Therefore, although the indestructible saint technique was known as the #1 offensive saint technique, its status was very awkward. There weren't many people who chose to cultivate it in the War God Hall. As for the sky-flipping seal, no one had ever been able to make it recognize anyone as its master. If it were someone else, they would have refuted the elder and Elder Wu Chang. Ling Xiao suddenly said, "Elders, could it be that you were once disciples of Battle Hall?" Although Ling Xiao's words were probing, his eyes were fixed on the 2 elders. He even secretly used the secret technique of fate to carefully sense their reactions. That's right. We were indeed once disciples of Battle Hall. However, that was a matter of 1,000,000 years ago. Now, the 2 of us are just 2 cripples. The elder said with a bitter smile. His expression was somewhat bleak. Since the 2 of you know that Battle Hall is in decline, why do you believe that I will join them? Ling Xiao asked. It was just as he had guessed. Elder Wu Chang and Elder Wu Chang were once disciples of Battle Hall. Moreover, they were people from 1,000,000 years ago. However, why didn't they stay in the War God Hall? Why were they in this small War God college? Ling Xiao could sense that Elder Wu Chang and Elder Wu Chang were only clones. He didn't know where their real bodies were. Because we sensed someone's aura from your body. That person is called the Scarlet Dragon War God. Elder Wu Chang said as he looked deeply at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's body trembled. His gaze wavered slightly. If he didn't know that the 2 people in front of him had no ill intentions, he would have directly left. In the divine realm, the name Scarlet Dragon War God was taboo. This was because it was related to the matter of 1,000,000 years ago. It was also related to the supreme treasure that caused the entire divine realm to go crazy, the wordless heavenly book. However, Ling Xiao couldn't understand what Elder Wu Chang meant. After all, he had hidden the wordless heavenly book very deeply. Even a sage wouldn't be able to discover the wordless heavenly book in his body. How did these 2 find it? Or did they not find the wordless heavenly book, but something else? Ling Xiao suddenly thought of something. He couldn't help but feel moved. Elder Wu Chang looked at Ling Xiao and explained, "Previously, I sensed the fluctuations of the reversal of fate technique from your body. Today, in the battle between you and Lu Wu, you used the power of the passage of time. In the entire divine realm, only the Scarlet Dragon War God can use both the reversal of fate technique and the passage of time at the same time. Therefore, you should have obtained his inheritance, right?" Elder Wu Chang's words made Ling Xiao's heart tremble even more. The reversal of fate technique was a supreme holy technique created by the Scarlet Dragon War God. Although it was incomplete, it was incomparably strange and terrifying. There was only one way to sense the reversal of fate technique, and that was if the Elder Wu Chang also practiced the reversal of fate technique. Chapter 14:13. Scarlet Dragon War God was the previous War God of the War God Temple. The reason why he left the divine world a million years ago was because he obtained the legendary wordless heavenly book. Since you obtained the inheritance of the reversing fate technique and the menstruation technique, you should be his disciple, right? Is war God, well? Wu Zhang's voice was somewhat fluctuating, and his eyes revealed a trace of expectation. Yes. I am indeed the disciple of Scarlet Dragon War God. I obtained the inheritance of the reversing fate technique and the menstruation technique. Master as well, and he is now in the devil world. Ling Zhao's heart slightly moved, and he said half-truthfully. At this point, he had nothing to hide. Ling Zhao gave a brief account of how he ascended from the war god's realm to the god's realm. However, what he said was only half true and half false. In particular, he emphasized that the Scarlet Dragon War God was still alive in order to distance himself from the wordless heavenly book. Ling Zhao could not let anyone know that the wordless heavenly book was in his possession. Even if Elder Wuzong and Elder Arena in front of him were disciples of the War God Temple, and even said that they were loyal and devoted to Scarlet Dragon War God, Ling Zhao could not take the risk. Therefore, Ling Zhao left out some of the most crucial details and gave a rough description of his background. You are actually an ascender from the lower realm? So you obtained the 9 heavenly Tao primal chaos tablets left behind by the War God. No wonder you can open the door to the divine world and ascend to the divine world. The Elder Arena said with a slight shock. However, he and Elder Wuzong were somewhat excited. The fact that Scarlet Dragon War God was still alive was simply the best news for them. 2 elders, what is the relationship between you and Master? Ling Zhao's heart moved, and he slowly asked. I don't know if the War God has mentioned to you that he used to have 2 children, one called Void Pierce, the other called Chonghe. The Elder Arena seemed to be somewhat emotional and expectant. Dao children. Void Pierce, Chonghe. Hearing these 2 names, Ling Zhao couldn't help but tremble, and his eyes revealed a trace of incomparable surprise. In Scarlet Dragon War God's memories, there were indeed memories of the Void Pierce stage and Chonghe. Scarlet Dragon War God once saved 2 children. Later on, they became Scarlet Dragon War God's children and carefully taught him. However, Scarlet Dragon War God left the divine world because of the wordless heavenly scripture. Void Pierce stage and Chonghe regarded Scarlet Dragon War God as their master and father. Their loyalty to Scarlet Dragon War God was unquestionable. However, Ling Zhao had never thought that these 2 Daoist children were still alive. Ling Zhao greets Senior Martial Brother Pierce stage and Senior Martial Brother Chonghe. Ling Zhao stood up and solemnly bowed to the Elder on the arena and Elder Wuchang. Although the secret technique of fate that Ling Zhao had obtained was incomplete, it could amplify Ling Zhao's perception by many times. Hence, Ling Zhao could clearly sense whether a person was sincere or malicious. The martial arts elder and martial arts elder in front of Ling Zhao did not have the slightest bit of malice towards him. Instead, they were filled with a sense of closeness, which was why Ling Zhao was so confident. However, the wordless heavenly book was still too important. Although Ling Zhao knew that the 2 of them did not have any malicious intentions, he still did not tell them. The martial arts elder was called Void Pierce stage. He had obtained the inheritance of the fate reversing technique. As for martial arts elder, his name was Chonghe. He had obtained the inheritance of the age and menstruation technique. From the fact that Scarlet Dragon War God had imparted these 2 supreme techniques to them, it could be seen that Scarlet Dragon War God trusted and had high expectations for them. Young Lord, please rise. We are not considered Lord War God's disciples. You are Lord War God's personal disciple. It is also God's will for us to meet young Lord in Ares College. Void Pierce stage sighed with emotion. His eyes were filled with anticipation as he looked at Ling Zhao. That's right. Since young Lord has obtained the inheritance of Lord War God, as long as you enter the War God Temple, you will definitely be recognized by the Heaven Flipping Seal. At that time, you will become the master of the War God Temple. It will only be a matter of time. Chonghe also said with a faint smile. Senior Marshall Brothers, Master once told me that although you two are master and disciple in name, you two are like father and son. Hence, you two are my Senior Marshall Brothers. However, why didn't you stay in the War God Temple? Instead, you came to this small Aries college. Ling Xiao came up with a white lie. Hearing Ling Xiao's words, Void-pierced Stage and Chong he couldn't help but tremble. Their eyes turned red and slightly moist. Void-pierced Stage suppressed the excitement in his heart and looked at Ling Xiao. 1,000,000 years ago, Lord War God was hunted down by countless experts in the divine world because he obtained the wordless heavenly book. He was forced to leave the divine world and enter the mortal world. Coincidentally, the war between the divine world and the devil world happened. Our War God Temple was like a headless dragon. We were schemed against and suffered heavy losses. Countless elders and experts died in battle. Void-pierced Stage and Chong he slowly recounted their experiences in the past 1,000,000 years. It turned out that after Scarlet Dragon War God disappeared, Void-pierced Stage and Chong he tried their best to support the War God Temple. However, they were unable to stop the decline of the War God Temple. After many years of bitter cultivation, the two of them finally touched the edge of the Saint Realm. However, because of an operation to hunt down the devil race, they were ambushed. In the end, their Saint Dao foundation was damaged and they had no hope of stepping into the Saint Realm for the rest of their lives. Right now, Void-pierced Stage and Chong he could only maintain the cultivation of the half-Saint Realm. Therefore, they left the War God Temple and entered the Aries College with the hope of selecting a few more genius disciples for the War God Temple. However, after so many years, there were only a few disciples who were willing to join the War God Temple. Moreover, even if there were some who were willing to join the War God Temple, they would still choose to change their allegiance halfway and be snatched away by the other 8 palaces. Senior brothers, you were ambushed while hunting down the devil race. I'm afraid the matter isn't that simple, right? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he said slowly. You're right. We also suspected that there was someone in the War God Temple who secretly colluded with the devil race to target our War God Temple. It's just that we didn't find any evidence. Void-pierced Stage said with a bitter smile. Senior brothers, do you have any suspects? Ling Xiao felt a chill in his heart. He felt that there was an invisible mastermind behind the scenes in the War God Temple who wanted to exterminate the War God Temple. Otherwise, even if the Flipping Sky Seal didn't have a successor, the War God Temple wouldn't have declined for so long. Void-pierced Stage and Chong he looked at each other and said at the same time, it might be someone from the Thunder Hall. Ling Xiao suddenly thought of Lei Qianjue when he heard the 2 words, Thunder Hall. Furthermore, he had a faint feeling that it might be related to Lei Qianjue. Senior brothers, don't worry. Once I enter the War God Temple, I'll definitely get to the bottom of this. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he said slowly. There's no rush. The upcoming generational tournament shouldn't be too difficult for you. However, the most important thing is still the Academy tournament. You have to do your best to obtain a good ranking. If you can get into the top 10, it will be extremely beneficial for you. Chapter 14:14. Is the Astral Tournament very important? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he asked doubtfully. He had also heard of the Academy Tournament's introduction. The Academy Tournament was a martial competition between all the academies in the 10 celestial domains surrounding the Supreme Layer Celestial Domain. There were more than 100 academies participating in the tournament, as there were several hundred academies of various sizes. The Astral Tournament was held once every 100 years, and the geniuses of the various academies would spar and compete. It was the grandest event in the Grand Level Celestial Domain in the past 100 years. It just so happened that this year's Astral Tournament was held a year after the Generational Tournament. However, Ling Xiao only had a rough understanding of the tournament, and he wasn't clear about its importance. Of course it's important. If one can rank among the top in the Astral Tournament, they will be rewarded with all sorts of divine weapons, spirit pills, and miraculous medicines. There might even be sacred treasures and sacred pills. However, these aren't the most important things. The most important thing is the opportunity to enter the void's sacred world. Only the top 10 in every astral tournament will have the opportunity to enter the void's sacred world. Chong, he explained. When he mentioned the illusionary saint world, his eyes revealed a tinge of excitement. Void's sacred world. When Ling Xiao heard these 3 words, his body couldn't help but tremble. Of course, he had heard of the void's sacred world. According to the legends, the void's sacred world was an illusory world constructed by the ancient sages using their spiritual energy. It was said that the ancient sages wanted to gather their power to create a reincarnation cycle. After a living being died, their true spirits would enter the cycle of reincarnation and be reborn. This would change the heavens and the earth, and they would obtain immeasurable merits and obtain the opportunity to become an emperor. Unfortunately, how could creating a reincarnation cycle be so easy? It was said that even the celestial emperor of the ancient era had failed, let alone the ancient sages. However, in the end, the world constructed by their spiritual energy was preserved, and it was called the void's sacred world. The void's sacred world could be said to be the treasure trove of the ancient sages. It contained countless paths to the divine Tao, and even the opportunities and inheritances of the ancient sages. It was incomparably precious. If one could enter the void saint world when one was in the divine state, one could find one's own path to the divine path and create one's own divine path. This would increase one's chances of becoming a saint. This was a temptation that no one could resist. However, it was extremely difficult to open the illusory sacred world. Furthermore, there were only a limited number of people who could enter each time. Thus, even in the academy tournament, there were only 10 people who could enter. Ling Xiao naturally did not care about divine weapons or elixirs. However, he still wanted to fight for a place in the void's sacred world. Young master, if you can comprehend your own Saint Tao in the void saint world, you will be able to save thousands or even tens of thousands of years compared to others. In the future, you will definitely soar into the sky and become unstoppable. That's why you must strive to enter the top 10 in this year's academy tournament. Chong Su exhorted. However, the competition in the tournament of the 100 academies was extremely intense. Several hundred geniuses from various academies were participating, but each academy had a different quota. Even for Aries College, only the top 10 could participate in the tournament of the 100 academies. Some of the weaker academies only had a single quota. Even the weakest participants in the academy tournament were at least at the late stage of the celestial stage or even the great perfection celestial stage, while the strongest had already broken through to the God King stage. Furthermore, if you can enter the top 10 in the tournament of the 100 academies and obtain a place to enter the void's sacred world, when you enter the War God Shrine, you might be able to directly become a true disciple. You won't have to work your way up from being an inner disciple. This is an opportunity. Chong, he said slowly. All right. I'll do my best. Ling Xiao nodded and said. He had already thought it through. He was determined to obtain a place in the void's sacred world. Ling Xiao chatted with his 2 seniors for a while longer before leaving. The High Heaven Pavilion had already been rebuilt by Lu Wu. For a great perfection celestial stage powerhouse, rebuilding the High Heaven Pavilion was a very simple matter. However, this had caused Lu Wu to lose a lot of face. After all, he had destroyed the High Heaven Pavilion in a fit of anger. Now that Ling Xiao had forced him to rebuild the pavilion, it was a huge blow to his prestige. After this battle, Long Outyan's name had spread throughout the entire Aries College, and he had slowly become a rising star. Ling Xiao returned to the High Heaven Pavilion and distributed over 100 drops of holy liquid to Xian Wang, Yi Liangchen, Fengye, Yin Tian Song, and the Black Donkey. Ling Xiao's cultivation had already reached the great perfection celestial stage. If he wanted to rely on the holy liquid to break through to the God King realm, he would probably need an astronomical amount of holy liquid. Furthermore, Ling Xiao's recent breakthroughs were too fast. Thus, he still needed to consolidate and accumulate. He had to suppress his cultivation for a period of time. Ling Xiao passed the first part of the Thunder Emperor technique to Bai Susu. Since it was a martial art from the 9 imperial gates, he didn't feel burdened at all. Furthermore, the Thunder Emperor technique was very compatible with Bai Susu's body constitution. It would definitely allow her strength to soar. In the future, she would be of great help to Ling Xiao. Following this, Ling Xiao prepared to enter the God of War pagoda to cultivate in seclusion. There were still more than 2 months left. Ling Xiao was prepared to use the immense pressure of the God of War pagoda to train his physical body and see if he could find an opportunity to break through to the 5th level of the indestructible combat body. The 5th level of the indestructible combat body was the triple deity transformation dragon. It was practically a qualitative change. If the 4th level of the Great Perfection stage allowed him to fight against ordinary god kings, then the 5th level of the Triple Deity Transformation Dragon would allow Ling Xiao to defeat god kings with just his physical body alone. The power of the indestructible combat body was evident. Furthermore, as the indestructible combat body improved, Ling Xiao's divine dragon body also started to break through to the Great Perfection stage. The divine dragon body and the indestructible combat body seemed to have started to merge to a certain extent. Both of them had an extremely terrifying effect on Ling Xiao's physical body. Ling Xiao entered the God of War pagoda. The first level's tenfold combat strength didn't affect Ling Xiao at all. Following that, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th levels didn't cause Ling Xiao to stop either. The 6th level's 320x gravity only caused Ling Xiao's feet to sink slightly. There were still a few disciples on the 6th level, but there was no one on the 7th level. Ling Xiao stepped onto the 7th level under everyone's astonished gazes. The gravity on the 7th level increased by 640 times. It was extremely terrifying, making Ling Xiao feel as if he was walking with an ancient divine mountain on his back. His footsteps also became extremely heavy. Terrifying pressure came from all directions, as if it was going to crush Ling Xiao, causing the flesh and blood all over his body to tremble slightly. 640x combat strength is still acceptable, but it's still not enough. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he walked step by step towards the 8th level. His footsteps seemed to be in the center of heaven and earth. It was as if the heavenly drums were beating loudly. Heaven and earth trembled as he finally disappeared from the 7th level of the God of War pagoda. Ling Xiao arrived at the 8th level. Boom! An incomparably terrifying pressure erupted, and before Ling Xiao could even stand firm, he was instantly forced to kneel down by the terrifying pressure of the tsunami-like force. Furthermore, Ling Xiao's bones were crackling violently as if they were unable to withstand such a terrifying force and were about to shatter completely. Chapter 14-15. On the 8th level, the gravity was 1,280 times stronger. That terrifying force surged towards Ling Xiao from all directions. It was incomparably terrifying, as if it wanted to turn him into dust. Even though Ling Xiao's current physical body was extremely terrifying, as he cultivated both the divine dragon body and the indestructible battle body, he was still unable to withstand such terrifying gravity. On this 8th level, I'm afraid only those whose physical body has reached the 5th level of the indestructible battle body can withstand it. No wonder no one comes here. Ling Xiao thought to himself. His entire body was in excruciating pain. Traces of blood seeped out of his skin, and the tiny blood vessels in his body exploded. In the face of this terrifying gravity, he couldn't even stand up. However, Ling Xiao's eyes grew brighter. In such a harsh environment, every particle in his body seemed to become extremely active and started to devour the surrounding energy. Ling Xiao directly swallowed dozens of drops of the sacred liquid. Majestic energy spread throughout his body, surging towards his limbs and bones. It also merged with his physical body at an extremely fast speed. Under such terrifying pressure, Ling Xiao's physical body, which was already close to the limit, actually started to slowly strengthen again. In the last 2 months, Ling Xiao only wanted to increase his strength as much as possible. Under the stimulation of the immense pressure of the God of War pagoda, his cultivation became more and more stable. Demon Realm. On an ancient and dark mountain, dark Ling Xiao stood at the peak, wearing a blood-red cloak. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and even his pupils were pure black. His eyes seemed to contain a dark whirlpool that was incomparably terrifying. At this moment, the aura around him was surging, and the demonic light was boundless. His entire body exuded an unfathomable aura. Around Dark Ling Xiao stood 7 figures with terrifying auras. There were both men and women, and all of them were terrifyingly strong. They held powerful demonic weapons in their hands, and their eyes were filled with monstrous killing intent as they looked at Dark Ling Xiao. These 7 figures were all at the perfected demon heavenly realm, only a step away from becoming demon god kings. They were all experts who had killed their way out of this year's god butchering convention. Each of them had a murderous aura around them. It was unknown how many living beings they had killed to condense such a murderous aura. In addition to the 7 of them, there were hundreds of figures with terrifying auras in the surroundings. They were all powerful experts of the demon clan. Their eyes were cold, and their auras intertwined, locking onto dark cloud in the center. The earth around Zhou Tian trembled as black runes shot through the air like chains, forming a super-killing formation. This was a killing trap, a trap that targeted Darkness Soaring Sky. Master, it seems that these so-called genius experts have been scared out of their wits by you. No one dares to face you alone, so they brought a group of people to target us. Zhu Ganglai chuckled. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. He carried a black 9-toothed rake and wore black armor. Although he was still extremely fat and tall, looking like a moving mountain of flesh, the terrifying baleful aura he gave off was not much weaker than the 7 figures. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's one person or a group. This time, the God-slaying convention doesn't need 10 people. I alone am enough. Since they have come out of their own accord, I can't be bothered to kill them one by one. I'll just kill them all. Dark Ling Xiao said with an indifferent smile. His eyes were filled with an evil look. The blood-red cloak behind him was like a blood-red flag fluttering in the wind. It was unknown how many vengeful spirits and evil spirits it had devoured. It made him look like a grim reaper from hell, exuding an aura that made people's hearts palpitate. The God-slaying convention had been going on for nearly 3 years. The demon world was vast and unparalleled. It was not much smaller than the divine world. There were all kinds of low-level, middle-level, and high-level demon clans. There were countless of them. Many high-level demon clans existed in the form of ancient countries. Therefore, there were countless ancient countries on the continent of the demon world. The God-slaying convention was a grand event held every 10,000 years in the demon world. The 10 sects of the demon world would select their disciples through the convention. In the entire demon world, who didn't want to enter the 10 sects of the demon world? The Heavenly Devil ancient country was only a middle-level ancient country. Therefore, it only had 10 people to enter the 10 sects of the demon world. The God-slaying convention was very cruel. There were no rules at all. It was like raising venomous insects. It would only end when there were only 10 people left. Although the Heavenly Devil ancient country was only a middle-level ancient country, there were hundreds of thousands of demon clan experts participating. After nearly 3 years of killing, there were only a little more than 100 people left. Most importantly, everyone in the God-slaying convention knew that a madman had entered this year's God-slaying convention. Most of the hundreds of thousands of demon clan experts had died in the hands of Darkness Soaring Sky. Darkness Soaring Sky started from the divine spirit realm. After 3 years of continuous killing and devouring, he had broken through 3 major realms and reached the great circle of the Devil Heaven realm. There had never been anyone left alive in the hands of Darkness Soaring Sky. Moreover, he had spread the word that all the demon clans in the God-slaying convention were trash. There was no need for 10 people. He alone was enough. Therefore, Darkness Soaring Sky had aroused the anger and killing intent of all the demon clan experts. Previously, they had set up several killing traps to ambush Darkness Soaring Sky. In the end, Darkness Soaring Sky had calmly escaped and killed countless demon clan experts. As the number of participants in the God-slaying convention decreased, Darkness Soaring Sky became more and more ferocious. The 7 figures were the 7 kings who had appeared in the God-slaying convention. They had also killed countless demon clan experts. However, at this moment, they had joined forces and gathered all the surviving experts to set up a killing trap to kill Darkness Soaring Sky. Soaring Sky, this king doesn't believe that you can deal with so many of us alone. Today, you're dead. If you don't want to die, get over here and swear the Great Heart Demon Oath. Acknowledge this king as your master and this king will spare your life. Among the 7 figures, the one in the center was a young man in a black robe. He looked very similar to a human, but his body was covered in black scales. There was also a black bone spur on his back. His eyes were brown, and they were filled with cold killing intent. His name was Luoku, the 9th prince of the heavenly devil ancient country. He was also the leader of the 7 kings. His strength was unparalleled. Although his bloodline was impure and he was only a branch of the heavenly devil clan, his status was incomparably noble. The 6 high-level demon clan experts beside him were all led by him. Luoku originally wanted to enter the 10 sects of the devil world through the god-slaying convention. However, he didn't expect to encounter a monster like Darkness Soaring Sky who only knew how to kill. Chapter 14-16. A bunch of trash. If numbers were useful, wouldn't a bunch of ants be able to kill a divine dragon? Cut the crap and come at me together. Today, I'll kill all of you in one go. The corners of Darkness Lingxiao's mouth curled into a sneer, his eyes filled with disdain. Luoku was different from the other brainless demons. He knew how to ask for help. However, in Darkness Lingxiao's eyes, killing a pig was no different from killing a group of pigs. Luoku, you bunch of trash, dare to compete with the Great Master? Why don't you wash your neck and kneel down and wait for death? Zhu Ganglai sneered with an arrogant and despotic look on his face. Bastard! Zhu Ganglai, you scum! Reckless fools, kill them all. Zhu Ganglia's words instantly aroused the anger of many demon experts. Their eyes were filled with murderous intent as they stared at Zhu Ganglai. However, Zhu Ganglai didn't seem to realize it at all. He still had a sneer on his face. He had benefited a lot from following Darkness Lingxiao. Now, his cultivation had also reached the complete Devil Heaven realm. He was completely loyal to Darkness Lingxiao. Therefore, he didn't care about the threat of the demon experts at all. Reckless fool. Go, whoever kills Darkness Lingxiao will be rewarded with 100 drops of saint liquid. Luoku's eyes flashed with killing intent as he roared. Rumble. The surrounding heavens and earth trembled. The void seemed to have shattered. Endless demonic aura rose. Ancient runes intertwined like black thunderbolts. They intertwined with each other and shrouded Darkness Soaring Sky. This was the 1,000 demon illusion array that Luoku had set up with the array disc. It could isolate the demon chi and suppress the soul. Even if a divine king expert entered it, his cultivation would be suppressed and his senses would be greatly damaged. He would be killed by the person who set up the array. Luoku knew that Darkness Lingxiao's strength was extremely terrifying. Therefore, he didn't hope to kill Darkness Lingxiao directly. He only hoped to suppress Darkness Lingxiao's cultivation and isolate the demon chi. At the same time, over 100 demon clan experts lunged at Dark High Firmament, unleashing powerful demon Dao abilities and divine weapons at Dark High Firmament and Zhu Ganglai. Trash is trash. Since you're in such a hurry to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Darkness Lingxiao's eyes flashed with divine light. Boom! Black divine light rose around him as he bathed in dazzling runes. The blood-red cloak behind him instantly soared into the sky, turning into a blood-red flag that covered the sky and the earth, enveloping the many demon powerhouses. Rumble! Crimson shadows flew out of the blood devil flag, emitting sharp whistles, and rushed toward the many devil clan experts. Ah, 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 a few miserable cries rang out before coming to a halt. The demonic experts who had been enveloped by the blood-red shadow were actually drained of all their blood in a single instance. Even their souls had been devoured, reducing them to dried corpses. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen devil clan experts had their flesh and blood devoured by the blood devil flag. Their souls were completely destroyed. Darkness Lingxiao's figure moved like a ghost in the demonic light. He was wrapped in the blood demon flag and was rapidly reaping the lives of the demon experts. The blood demon flag was a treasure that Darkness Lingxiao had accidentally obtained from the ancient blood demon emperor's method of refining the blood demon flag. The method of refining the blood demon flag was not complicated, but the magic of the blood demon flag was that it could evolve by continuously devouring the flesh and blood of living beings. The blood demon flag that Darkness Lingxiao had just refined was only a low-grade demonic weapon. However, after devouring the flesh and blood of hundreds of thousands of demons, it had evolved into a top-grade demonic imperial weapon. It was not far from becoming a holy treasure. Legend had it that the blood demon flag refined by the ancient blood demon emperor had become an apex emperor weapon. When the blood demon flag was unfurled, it could envelop a macro world and refine all living beings in it. When Darkness Lingxiao refined the blood demon flag, he had cleverly added in the heaven-devouring secret skill, which made the blood demon flag even more terrifying. Damn it! How can his blood demon flag be so powerful? Don't hold back. Let's attack together and kill him. Luo Ke's face became extremely ugly. His eyes were filled with disbelief. The blood demon flag was not considered precious in the demon realm. Many people would choose to refine the blood demon flag. However, Luo Ke had never seen such a strange blood demon flag like Darkness Lingxiao. The efficiency of devouring the flesh and blood of demon experts was too high. It could suck a devil heavenly realm expert into a dried corpse in the blink of an eye. More than 100 demon experts were killed by Darkness Lingxiao and Zhu Ganglai in such a short time. Luo Ke knew that he could not wait any longer. Boom! A black halberd appeared in his hand. It emitted a monstrous demonic light and suddenly slashed at Darkness Lingxiao. The black halberd was like an ancient mountain. It was extremely powerful and split the demonic chi in half. Kill! The remaining 6 experts all had cold looks in their eyes as they unleashed their most powerful attacks at Dark Soaring Sky. Darkness Lingxiao's eyes flashed, and the blood devil flag instantly turned into a blood-colored cloak. He soared into the sky in the blazing great formation and threw a punch at Luo Ke. Bang! The dark fist imprint seemed to contain a heavy hidden force, causing the long black halberd to tremble violently, before it was forcefully repelled. At the same time, black light gushed out of Darkness Lingxiao's body. It was as if a terrifying black hole had formed, wanting to devour all living things. The devouring black hole covered the sky and the earth. It covered the attacks of the 6 experts. Then, a terrifying divine light exploded. The blood demon flag directly pounced on the 6 experts. The expressions of the experts from the 6 great devil clans changed slightly, revealing a trace of fear. They had already seen the strangeness of the blood devil flag. Although they were not afraid of it, they did not want to get involved with it so easily. All of them quickly retreated. Buzz! A demon expert with a bull's head and a human body had a black giant axe in his hand. The axe was blazing. He suddenly chopped at Darkness Lingxiao's head. There was also a demon who seemed to be hiding in the darkness. He left a faint shadow in the void, but he gave off an extremely dangerous feeling. 2 slender ancient swords silently stabbed at Darkness Lingxiao from behind. The 7 experts seemed to have a certain degree of cooperation with each other. They had a great tacit understanding and erupted with powerful fighting strength. Luo Ke was in charge of the frontal attack. The halberd in his hand was a half-step saint treasure. It could resist Darkness Lingxiao's strange blood demon flag. The other 6 experts besieged him from the side. They all attacked as fast as lightning. They wanted to kill Darkness Lingxiao. Chapter 14-17. Rumble. Dark Lingxiao's whole body was shrouded in black divine light. With the blood demon flag on his body, his unparalleled fist imprint suddenly collided with the black halberd. Immediately, the heaven and earth rumbled, countless runes in the surroundings exploded, and the earth trembled violently. Dark Ling Xiao was a doppelganger condensed from Ling Xiao's demonic origin bone. He inherited Ling Xiao's memories, so he also knew all kinds of martial arts that Ling Xiao knew. Although Dark Ling Xiao didn't cultivate the secret arts of ancestral dragon, his physical body was innately extremely terrifying. Coupled with the fact that he was constantly devouring the flesh and blood of demon powerhouses, his physical body wasn't inferior to Ling Xiao's. Therefore, he was able to take Luo Ke's halberd with his bare hands. Even Luo Ke's killing formation had little effect on him. Rumble. The killing formations in the surroundings intertwined, and the resplendent runes shot towards Dark Ling Xiao like bolts of black lightning. Such terrifying power would have killed any powerhouse at the great circle of the Devil Heavenly Realm immediately. But Dark Ling Xiao was surrounded by a black devouring vortex, as if it could devour the heavens. The runes formed by the killing formations were all devoured by him, and instead became the power to nourish Dark Ling Xiao. Die! Dark Ling Xiao's face was extremely grim. After repelling Luo Ke with a punch, his eyes flashed with killing intent, and he charged towards the nearby Minotaur powerhouse. Whoosh! The blood demon flag blossomed with blood-colored divine light. Like a blood-colored ocean, it instantly enveloped that ox demon powerhouse. At the same time, dark soaring heavens launched a punch. The divine light of the four symbols weaved unhindered, forming a resplendent chaotic fist. The Minotaur powerhouse's face changed greatly. He didn't have the confidence to resist Dark Ling Xiao's attack alone. He immediately staggered back, and at the same time, chopped down at Dark Ling Xiao with his huge axe. Stop him! Luo Ke's face also changed. The other demon powerhouses were nothing, but these 7 were all at the great circle of the Devil Heavenly Realm. They were his trump card to kill Dark Ling Xiao. If Dark Ling Xiao defeated them one by one, he would be done for. Rumble. The other 5 great demon powerhouses naturally understood, and launched powerful attacks one after another. Demonic chi overflowed, and their gazes were incomparably cruel, as they went all out to kill Dark Ling Xiao. 5 black demonic lights streaked across the sky. There were fist imprints, blade lights, sword chi, staff shadows, and spear lights, aiming at Dark Ling Xiao's vital parts. Darkness Ling Xiao's gaze was incomparably cold. He didn't even turn his head. The black devouring vortex behind him grew more and more vast, and he rapidly arrived in front of the Ox Demon powerhouse. Kacha! The primal chaos fist blasted on the huge axe, and a loud sound was heard, which made the heaven and earth tremble. Black runes exploded one after another, and the huge axe was unable to withstand the power of the dark firmament fist, and was shattered into pieces with a loud bang. Dark soaring clouds punch didn't lose its momentum at all. Under the incomparably alarmed gaze of the Ox Demon powerhouse, it landed on his chest. Bang! A huge bloody hole was blasted open, and the blood demon flag rapidly followed up, directly wrapping around the Ox Demon powerhouse, and started to frantically devour his flesh. Ah! Your Highness, save me! The Ox Demon powerhouse issued an incomparably miserable cry for help, but it came to an abrupt end in an instant. A formidable Ox Demon powerhouse was seriously injured by Dark Ling Xiao, and then swallowed by Blood Demon flag. Bang! 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 At the same time, the incomparably terrifying attacks of the 5 great demon powerhouses bombarded Dark Ling Xiao. To be exact, it had struck the terrifying devouring vortex. Like a resplendent sun, incomparably resplendent divine light was aroused in an instant. The originally incomparably tranquil vortex was thoroughly rioting at this moment. It rapidly expanded, and enveloped the 5 great demon powerhouses. Since you've delivered yourselves to my doorstep, I'll refine all of you. Dark Ling Xiao's gaze was incomparably cold. Terrifying demonic origin energy gushed out from his body, making his aura even more unfathomable. The terrifying vortex seemed to have formed a world of its own. It enveloped the 5 great demon powerhouses, making them unable to struggle free. At the same time, Blood Demon flag turned into a sea of blood. Countless blood-colored demonic shadows pounced on them, as if wanting to devour and refine their flesh. What? Dark Ling Xiao, you're courting death. Luo Ke's whole body shook. His eyes revealed an incomparably horrified look, and he instantly flew into a rage. He didn't expect Darkness Ling Xiao's schemes to be so profound. When he was planning to deal the fatal blow to the Ox Demon Powerhouse, he also calculated that the 5 great demon powerhouses would come to his rescue, trapping them in the process. In the blink of an eye, one of the 7 great demon powerhouses was killed by Dark Ling Xiao, and the other 5 were imprisoned. If this went on, even Luo Ke would undoubtedly die. Rumble. Demonic light burst out from Luo Ke's body. His black scales turned into resplendent runes, and his whole body swelled in an instant, turning into a terrifying figure over 10,000 zhangs high. The bone spur behind him instantly split into thousands of bone spurs, piercing towards Dark Ling Xiao like a blade. Although Luo Ke was the prince of the Heavenly Devil Ancient Empire and had the bloodline of the Heavenly Devil clan, his bloodline wasn't pure. His main bloodline was the bloodline of the Bone Devil clan. Therefore, he directly unleashed the innate ability of the Bone Devil clan. This attack was already comparable to the power of a demon god king. He wanted to heavily injure or even kill Dark Ling Xiao, and then rescue the 5 great demon powerhouses. Master, be careful. Zhu Gonglie's expression changed, and he hurriedly shouted. At the same time, the 9-toothed rake in his hand shone brightly, and suddenly swept away the surrounding demon powerhouses that were attacking him. Then, it turned into a stream of light, shooting towards Luo Ke. Clang! The sound of metal clashing resounded. Zhu Gonglie's 9-toothed rake could be considered a rare treasure, but it was only able to cut off a few dozen bone spurs, and then it was instantly repelled. The thousands of bone spurs didn't slow down, and instantly arrived in front of Dark Ling Xiao. Is this your trump card? Unfortunately, it's still too weak. Dark Ling Xiao sneered. Rumble. The light around Dark Ling Xiao's body gushed out, and streaks of black lightning rose up, as if they had turned into a blazing sea of lightning, containing incomparably terrifying power. The aura was ancient and mysterious, and it was like the Milky Way was flowing backwards. The lightning that filled the sky directly swept up the bone spurs in the void, and an earth-shattering collision erupted. The power was too terrifying. Chapter 14:18. Rumble. The black lightning was too terrifying. Everyone's eyes were filled with horror. They could see that the thousands of horrifying bone spikes were melting at a speed visible to the naked eye, turning into nothingness in an instant. The vast lightning rolled back. Before Luo Ke could react, he was shrouded in a sea of lightning. Streaks of lightning drilled into his body, instantly tearing his skin and flesh apart. He let out a miserable cry. This was Dark Soaring Cloud's innate ability. He called it the Origin Lightning and inherited it from the Origin Demon Bone. Its power was unparalleled. However, after unleashing the Origin Lightning, even Dark Soaring Cloud's eyes showed a trace of exhaustion. Soaring Cloud, you will die a horrible death. Let me go. I am willing to recognize you as my master. I only beg you to spare my life. I don't want to die. I still want to enter the 10 sects of the demon realm. I can't die here. The 5 experts of the Devil clan roared loudly. As the power of the Blood Devil flag erupted, they could feel the blood in their bodies being crazily extracted. All of them were scared out of their wits, and their eyes were filled with incomparable horror. Dark Soaring Cloud was too ferocious. His strength was too terrifying. At this moment, they had lost the confidence to continue fighting against Dark Soaring Cloud. They only wanted to save their lives. However, Dark Soaring Cloud's eyes were still cold and cruel. He was unmoved. The power of the Blood Demon flag was too terrifying. Thousands of blood demons pounced from it. They were invisible and were constantly devouring the blood in the bodies of the 5 demon clan experts. Their resistance was getting weaker and weaker. In the end, their bodies exploded. Terrifying demonic light erupted. This was the power of their self-destruction. They wanted to abandon their bodies and let their primordial spirits escape. However, the light of the Blood Demon flag swept out. Immediately, the surrounding void was imprisoned. The 5 primordial spirits were directly devoured by the Blood Demon flag. Your primordial spirits are not bad. You are qualified to become blood demon kings. Dark soaring clouds said coldly. There were hundreds of thousands of blood demons in the blood demon flag. They were all transformed from the demon clan experts that Dark Soaring Cloud killed. However, they were not able to evolve into blood demon kings. Once they evolved into blood demon kings, the power of the blood demon flag would skyrocket. These 5 fiend race powerhouses were all extremely talented individuals. Unfortunately, they encountered Darkness Soaring Sky and were all slaughtered in a single battle. In the blink of an eye, only Luo Kuo was left of the 7 demon clan experts. Whoosh! Luo Kuo barely managed to escape from the lightning essence. He had used all his defensive treasures and even an ancient saint talisman, but he had still been heavily injured by the lightning essence. Half of his body had been destroyed. When Luo Kuo saw the scene in front of him, his soul almost left his body. With Luo, oh Luo Luo. Luo. Dark Soaring Cloud, as long as you kill those people, the God Massacre Convention will be over. The 3 of us will be able to enter the 10 sects of the Devil World. I hope you can let me go. Otherwise, even if you kill me, my father won't let you go. You won't be able to leave the Heavenly Devil Ancient Empire. Luo Kuo was very straightforward. Although he hated Dark Soaring Cloud to the bone, he knew that he was in a disadvantageous position. Moreover, he couldn't escape. Therefore, he bowed his head to Dark Soaring Cloud. However, he also thought to himself that once the God Massacre Convention was over, he would make his father kill Dark Soaring Cloud. Are you threatening me? I alone am enough for the God Massacre Convention. Why should I let you go? I'm afraid that even if I let you go now, you will think of ways to kill me after you leave this place. Dark Soaring Cloud sneered. I can swear a heart demon oath that I will never attack you. As long as you let me go, I will tell my father to let you enter the Heavenly Devil Pool to cultivate once. With your current cultivation, as long as you enter the Heavenly Devil Pool to cultivate once, your chances of breaking through to the Demon God King realm will greatly increase. Luo Kuo's heart skipped a beat. He didn't want Dark Soaring Cloud to think that he was threatening him. He immediately lowered his stance and even offered the temptation of the Heavenly Devil Pool. The Heavenly Devil Pool was a secret realm of the Heavenly Devil Ancient Empire. It contained incomparably mysterious Heavenly Devil Chi that could increase one's cultivation speed by 10-fold or even 100-fold. He believed that with the temptation of the Heavenly Devil Pool, Dark Soaring Cloud would definitely agree. Enter the Heavenly Devil Pool to cultivate. This is indeed a good condition. Dark Soaring Cloud's eyes flashed as he said indifferently. So, you agree? Luo Kuo's heart relaxed as if he saw the hope of leaving this place alive. Of course. I don't agree. Dark Soaring Cloud smiled faintly as killing intent burst out from his eyes. Boom! The Blood Devil flag was extremely fast. Like a blood-red shadow, it instantly appeared in front of Luo Kuo and enveloped him. A terrifying blood-red light rose, exuding the aura of death. Luo Kuo's face was filled with uncontrollable fear and anger. He couldn't help but shout, Soaring Cloud, you didn't keep your word. Childish. I've never promised you anything. Dark Soaring Cloud sneered. The reason why he said a few more words to Luo Kuo was that he was waiting for the Blood Devil flag to completely digest the flesh and blood of the Demon Clan experts. Rumble. The Blood Devil flag shone brightly as streaks of blood devils rushed towards Luo Kuo. Dark Soaring Cloud ignored Luo Kuo's curses and pleas for mercy. Soon, he was completely devoured by the Blood Devil flag. The 7 Demon Clan experts were all killed. Master is mighty. But you killed Luo Kuo. I'm afraid that the Heavenly Devil Ancient Empire won't let us off so easily. After all, although we have obtained the quota, it will be troublesome if the Heavenly Devil Ancient Empire targets us. Zhu Ganglai said worriedly. It doesn't matter. We will see the Dark Devil Sect's emissary when we get out. No matter how angry the Heavenly Devil Ancient Empire is, they won't dare to be presumptuous. But even if they dare to attack me, so what? The Blood Devil flag can add another Blood Devil King. Darkness Ling Xiao sneered. There was no trace of emotion in his eyes. Hee, Master is right. When we enter the Dark Devil sect, Master will be able to defeat all the heroes. Even becoming the Dark Devil sect's holy son will be a piece of cake. Zhu Ganglai said with a smile. He was also relieved of his worries. Ever since he joined Dark Soaring Cloud, he had become his most loyal henchman. Especially after following Dark Soaring Cloud for a few years, he had gained a lot of benefits from killing. This made him blindly trust Dark Soaring Cloud. Chapter 14-19. Boom! With a sweep of the Blood Demon flag, the remaining demon race experts were all devoured. Only Darkness Ling Xiao and Zhu Ganglai were left in the world. The void rippled like water, and the world became extremely blurry. As if some condition had been triggered, Darkness Ling Xiao and Zhu Ganglai were enveloped by a burst of resplendent light, and they disappeared from the world. The God Butchering Convention had ended. The rules of the God Butchering Convention were simple and crude. Because there were only 10 spots, everyone had to fight together. If there were less than 10 people left, the God Butchering Convention would automatically end. In the past God Butchering Conventions, it was easy to determine 10 spots. However, this year's God Butchering Convention had exceeded everyone's expectations. Dark Ling Xiao and Zhu Ganglai appeared in a huge square. In the distance, ancient palaces rose from the ground, looking majestic and mysterious. This was the palace of the Heavenly Devil Ancient Empire. At this moment, there were many powerful figures waiting in the square. Their eyes were filled with anticipation. Naturally, this included the Demon King of the Heavenly Devil Ancient Empire, Luo Jun. Luo Jun was a majestic middle-aged man. He looked very similar to Luo Ku. He wore a black robe and was tall and sturdy. His body was covered with black scales and there was a black bone spike on his back. His entire body was emitting an incomparably powerful aura. Beside him, there was a young man in a black robe. He looked heroic, and his appearance was almost no different from a human. His expression was calm and indifferent, and his aura was unfathomable. He was even stronger than Luo Jun. He was the messenger of the Dark Demon sect. This time, he came to the Heavenly Devil Ancient Empire to preside over the God Butchering Convention and select disciples to join the Dark Demon sect. Luo Jun's attitude towards him was very respectful because he knew that this black-robed youth had an extraordinary origin. He wasn't just a messenger of the Dark Demon sect. Moreover, he had a saint-old ancestor standing behind him. Luo Jun had been carefully serving this messenger. He believed that Luo Ku would definitely pass the God Butchering Convention. However, he hoped that he could establish a connection with the saint-old ancestor through this messenger. If Luo Ku could become the saint-old ancestor's personal disciple, it would be even better. After all, even if one could enter the Dark Devil sect through the God Massacring Convention, they had to start from the outer sect. Above them, there were still inner sect disciples and true disciples. Every step was extremely difficult. However, as long as one was accepted as a disciple by a saint-old ancestor, one would immediately become a successor disciple. That status would be like reaching the heavens in a single bound. Today, when that mysterious and boundless aura burst forth from the void, Luo Jun instantly knew that the God Massacre Convention was over. His eyes were filled with anticipation. Whoosh! Whoosh! Darkness Ling Xiao and Zhu Ganglia's figures appeared in front of everyone. Everyone's eyes were filled with confusion. This was because Darkness Ling Xiao and Zhu Ganglia's faces were very unfamiliar. They did not recognize them at all. They did not know how these two people were able to obtain 2 spots. That's only the 2 of them. There are more behind. Don't worry. Ha ha ha. Our young master will definitely get a spot. The God-slaying convention is finally over. I hope that my little master will be able to return safely. Although the experts from the big families in the Heavenly Devil Ancient Nation were surprised to see Darkness Ling Xiao and Zhu Ganglai, they were still filled with anticipation. Luo Jun frowned slightly. He did not know why, but when he saw Ling Xiao's indifferent face, he suddenly had a bad feeling. The chaotic ripples in the void gradually calmed down, but no one appeared. No need to wait. In this god-slaying convention, other than us, everyone else is dead. Zhu Ganglai said with a smile. His small eyes shone brightly, and his face was filled with arrogance and haughtiness. What? Impossible. If you can survive the God Massacre Convention, then my little master will not have a problem either. That's right. Fat pig, don't try to mislead us with your lies. Otherwise, don't blame us for killing you. Zhu Gonglia's words shocked everyone. Then, one by one, they began to fly into a rage. They glared at Zhu Ganglai and Darkness Ling Xiao, but they were getting more and more anxious. This was because no one had come out from the secret land. Luo Jun's face became gloomier and gloomier. His eyes even began to emit monstrous killing intent. Luo Ku was his most important son. He had the hope of inheriting the will of the heavenly devil ancient nation. In the future, he would enter the Dark Devil sect and grow step by step. He might even become a supreme sage. But now, this hope seemed to be shattered. Boom! A terrifying aura emanated from Luo Jun. It locked onto Darkness Ling Xiao and Zhu Ganglai, as if a thunderous attack would erupt at any time. How did Luo Ku die? Luo Jun stared at Darkness Ling Xiao and Zhu Ganglai, his eyes filled with cold killing intent. What? You want to attack us? I don't know anything about Luo Ku or Luo Ku. I only know that all the trash are dead. Darkness Ling Xiao sneered and stared at Luo Jun. His eyes were deep and emotionless. You killed Luo Ku. Luo Jun's eyes suddenly flashed with killing intent. He felt a deep resentment and death aura from Darkness Ling Xiao. It belonged to Luo Ku. Dark soaring firmament didn't restrain his baleful aura. He disdained to hide it, so the baleful aura around him seemed to have materialized. Black light rose and enveloped him, making him look like the Grim Reaper King of Hell. Anyone who looked at Darkness Ling Xiao would know that he must have killed countless people. Otherwise, he wouldn't have such a terrifying killing intent. Seeing that Luo Jun was about to go berserk, the Dark Devil Sect's emissary suddenly took a step forward. He looked at Darkness Ling Xiao and Zhu Ganglai strangely and said, to be able to reach the end of the hundreds of thousands of experts, whether it is in terms of wisdom, strength, or means, you are the best. You are qualified to become a disciple of the Dark Devil sect. When Luo Jun heard this, he immediately became anxious and said, Lord Emissary, these two people are very unfamiliar. They are not people of my heavenly devil ancient nation. They are very likely spies of other sections. That's why he dared to kill so many people. It must be to weaken the strength of the Dark Devil sect. Lord, please investigate and kill them on the spot. Dark soaring firmament praised in his heart. Luo Jun was truly worthy of possessing the heavenly devil race's bloodline. His mind was mature. He didn't even mention that Dark soaring firmament had killed Luo Ku. He only said that Dark soaring firmament and Zhu Ganglai were spies. His goal was to make the Dark Devil sect's emissaries suspect them and then kill them. Spies of other sects. Are you? The emissary looked at Darkness Ling Xiao and Zhu Ganglai with a smile that wasn't a smile. Of course not. Lord Emissary, please investigate. Although we don't have any powerful family, our hearts yearn for the Dark Devil sect. We hope to become a disciple of the Dark Devil sect. That's why we came to the Heavenly Devil Ancient Nation to participate in the God-slaying convention. Moreover, I believe that you will be able to tell whether we are spies or not. Chapter 1420. Buzz. Suddenly, the Dark Demon Sect's emissary's body shone brightly. A black jade talisman floated up by itself, emitting a strange fluctuation. It trembled slightly and pointed at Dark Ling Xiao. The Dark Demon Sect's emissary wanted to say something, but when he saw the black jade talisman, his body trembled. His eyes revealed a trace of ecstasy. The black jade talisman was called the Dark Saint Talisman. It was made from the bones of a senior of the Dark Demon Sect. It had an incomparably mysterious power. almost all the emissaries of the Dark Demon sect had a Dark Saint talisman. The Dark Saint talisman didn't have any offensive power, but its most important function was to discover the Dark Saint physique. The Dark Saint physique was the most suitable physique for cultivating the martial arts of the Dark Demon sect. Therefore, every emissary of the Dark Demon sect wanted to use the God-slaying convention to find the Dark Saint physique. Now that the Dark Saint talisman had lit up, there was only one possibility. Dark Ling Xiao had the Dark Saint physique. The emissary of the Dark Demon sect, who had an indifferent expression and didn't care about the divine investigator, was now looking at Dark Ling Xiao with a fanatical and excited expression. There was even a trace of respect. With the Dark Saint physique, he would definitely soar into the sky in the future. As long as he entered the Dark Demon sect, it was very likely that he would become the next sect master of the Dark Demon sect. Dark Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He had also noticed the Dark Saint talisman. Was it made by a Saint Lord with the Dark Saint physique? It seems like he thinks that I have the Dark Saint physique. However, this can't be considered wrong. Dark Ling Xiao thought inwardly. Suddenly, he had a plan in his heart. He was originally formed from the origin demon bone and possessed the power of the demon realm's origin. Therefore, he also possessed some of the Dark Saint physique's mysteries. It wasn't wrong to say that he had the Dark Saint physique. Dark Ling Xiao also planned to make the best of this mistake. As long as he didn't admit that he didn't have the Dark Saint physique, no one would be able to tell. Junior brother, since you have passed the God-slaying convention, you are a disciple of the Dark Demon sect. What is your name? Don't worry, no one will dare to make things difficult for you. The emissary of the Dark Demon sect said with enthusiasm. Even Luo Jun couldn't make sense of the Dark Ling Xiao, but he instinctively had a bad feeling in his heart. Lord Envoy, this child is very likely a spy from another sect. Luo Jun reminded him in a low voice. Spy? What a joke. Can't I tell if he's a spy or not? Luo Jun, I know that your son died in the God Butchering Convention, but the God Butchering Convention is a cruel place. Life and death are ruled by fate. I hope that you won't be too conflicted. This junior apprentice brother must be a disciple of my Dark Devil sect. The Dark Demon sect's emissary sneered. In the past, he might still have some doubts. However, after seeing that Ling Xiao had the sacred body of darkness, he no longer had any doubts. How could someone with the sacred body of darkness become a spy for other sects? No one else had the ability and confidence to do so. Greetings, senior brother. I am Ling Xiao and this is my subordinate, Zhu Ganglai. We have admired the Dark Devil's sect for a long time and want to join it. Dark Ling Xiao said with a faint smile. His eyes shone brightly. He had already guessed that the emissary of the Dark Demon sect must have recognized him as the sacred body of darkness. He was happy to make the best of it. Ling Xiao. What a good name. Don't worry, I will bring you to the Dark Devil sect later. The Dark Demon sect's emissary said with an amiable smile. He knew that the young man in front of him had a limitless future. With the sacred body of darkness, it was very likely that he would become the holy son of the Dark Devil sect. At that time, he might even have to rely on Ling Xiao. Moreover, he had discovered the sacred body of darkness. When he returned to the Dark Devil sect, he would definitely be able to exchange for a large amount of resources. Luo Jun's expression turned incomparably unsightly. He stared at the Dark Devil sect's emissary and said, Lord Emissary, Ling Xiao caused so many deaths in the God Massacre Convention, causing the Dark Devil sect to lose 8 disciples. Could it be that you really plan on letting him off? After hearing Luo Jun's words, the emissary of the Dark Demon sect felt a wave of annoyance in his heart. He frowned and said coldly, Luo Jun, mind your own business. When the Dark Devil sect is recruiting disciples, when is it your turn to interrupt? Luo Jun's body trembled, and his face became even uglier. However, he also knew that although the Heavenly Devil Ancient Empire's strength was not bad, compared to the Dark Devil sect, it was like a firefly compared to the moon. Although he hated Ling Xiao to the extreme, he didn't dare to say anything. Junior brother Ling Xiao, follow me back to the Dark Devil sect. The emissary of the Dark Devil sect said with a smile. Whoosh! With a wave of his sleeve, a black void treasure ship appeared in front of them, emitting an incomparably powerful aura. This void treasure ship was actually a half-step saint treasure. Moreover, it contained an extremely mysterious and vast space law fluctuation, as if it could shuttle through the void. Yes. Ling Xiao and Zhu Ganglai looked at each other, and both of them flew onto the black void treasure ship with the emissary. Boom! The void treasure ship shone brightly, and the void trembled violently. In the next moment, the void treasure ship shot into the depths of the void and disappeared in front of everyone's eyes. Seeing the emissary of the Dark Devil sect leave with Ling Xiao and Zhu Ganglai, Luo Jun's face alternated between green and white, and his eyes were filled with incomparable resentment. Your Majesty, are we going to let Ling Xiao leave just like that? The ninth prince must have been killed by him. A burly man in a black robe with a tiger head and a human body transmitted his voice to Luo Jun. This expert from the Tiger Demon clan was called Hu Guan, and he was the great general of the Heavenly Devil ancient nation. He was also a demon god king, and his strength was unparalleled. He was deeply trusted by Luo Jun. Then what can we do? Are we going to snatch someone from the Dark Devil sect? Luo Jun sneered helplessly. Your Majesty, the Dark Devil sect has never placed us in their eyes. Only the God Butchering Convention, which occurs once every 10,000 years, will send an emissary. The Radiant Devil sect's emissary from last time seems to still be in the nation. Why don't we just join the Radiant Devil sect? Hu Guan said with a cold laugh. Join the Radiant Devil sect? It won't do us any good, right? Besides, even if we want to join them, I'm afraid they won't accept us. Luo Jun was a little tempted, but he still hesitated. The Radiant Devil sect and the Dark Devil sect were both among the top 10 sects of the Devil realm, but the two were like fire and water. They were like sworn enemies, and couldn't wait to destroy each other. Chapter 1421. Of course there are benefits. Your Majesty, if the Radiance Demon sect is willing to accept us, they will definitely protect us. Furthermore, Ling Xiao is the best proof of allegiance. I'm afraid your Majesty doesn't know what that black jade talisman is, right? That's the holy symbol of darkness, and it can identify the Saint Constitution of Darkness. If I'm not wrong, Ling Xiao definitely has the Saint Constitution of Darkness. As long as we reveal their whereabouts to the people of the Radiant Demon sect, not only will the Radiant Demon sect protect us, they will also bestow the Hua Xing Dan to His Majesty. Hu Guan's voice was filled with temptations. Sacred body of darkness? How is that possible? Luo Jun's entire body shook, and his eyes revealed a look of disbelief. However, he had heard of the Darkness Holy Talisman before. When he thought of the commotion caused by the Darkness Holy Talisman, he believed in Hu Guan's judgment that Ling Xiao had the sacred body of darkness. The Radiant Demon sect had long offered a bounty for the sacred body of darkness. If they could raise the whereabouts of the sacred body of darkness, they would be rewarded with the transformation holy pellet. If he had the Hua Holy Dan, Luo Jun would have hope of breaking through to the supreme realm of the Holy Way. This was an irresistible temptation for Luo Jun. Luo Jun thought for a moment, then gritted his teeth and said, okay. Since the Dark Demon sect is being unfair, then we will directly rebel. Hu Guan, contact the people from the Radiant Demon sect and tell them that Ling Xiao has the Saint Constitution of Darkness. Ask them to kill Ling Xiao. We'll prepare to join the Radiant Demon sect. Luo Jun knew that if he betrayed the Dark Devil sect, he would definitely attract a large number of experts to hunt him down. However, he had also decided that once he obtained the Hua Xing Dan, he would immediately go into seclusion to cultivate. As long as he could break through to the Sage realm, he would have enough trump cards. As for the life and death of the devil race experts in the Heavenly Devil ancient country, he was too lazy to care about them. What's most important is that it's beneficial to me. The selfishness of the demons was clearly displayed on Luo Jun. Understood. A strange look appeared in Hu Guan's eyes. He instantly turned around and flew into the distance. The spatial treasure ship quickly flew through the endless space. It was surrounded by resplendent spatial turbulence, conjuring various mysterious scenes. The Dark Demon Sect's emissary was currently chatting with Dark High Firmament on the deck. Ling Xiao also knew the true name of the Dark Devil Sect. His name was Yun Tan, and he was an inner disciple of the Dark Devil Sect. At the same time, he was also an in-name disciple of a saint ancestor. That saint old ancestor was the Grand Elder of the Dark Devil Sect. His status was extremely high, and even the sect master of the Dark Devil Sect would be incomparably respectful when he saw him. Senior Brother Yun, did you inform the sect master and Grand Elder? Darkness Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he suddenly asked. Not yet. Junior Brother Ling Xiao, the Saint of Darkness physique is of great importance, and we can't let the news leak out. Otherwise, our old enemy, the Radiant Demon Sect, won't let you enter the Dark Demon Sect alive. That's why I didn't inform the sect master and Grand Elder. Is there a problem? Yun Tan looked at Darkness Ling Xiao's expression and asked doubtfully. Then I advise you to hurry up and inform them. I'm afraid our journey won't be peaceful. Actually, the news of the holy body of darkness should have already been leaked. I suspect that Luo Jun and the others should be able to guess it. Ling Xiao said indifferently. It can't be. Even if Luo Jun and the others could guess it, they wouldn't dare to betray the sect. However, you're right. It seems like I've been negligent. I'll contact the sect master and Grand Elder now. Yun Tan's face revealed a trace of seriousness. However, after hearing Darkness Ling Xiao's words, he immediately turned around to contact the sect master and Grand Elder. The emissaries of the Dark Devil Sect all had special communication channels. However, unless it was a matter of life and death or something extremely important, most people wouldn't use it. Ling Xiao looked outside the void treasure ship and the dazzling turbulence of the void. He only felt a sense of danger coming from it. Rumble. The turbulence of the void in the distance suddenly trembled violently. Endless dazzling divine light erupted as if it had illuminated the endless darkness. All that was left in front of everyone was a vast expanse of white divine light. A figure with a pair of wings on his back and a white robe appeared in front of the void treasure ship. He looked incomparably holy and his aura was incomparably terrifying. It was as if light had condensed together and appeared in front of the void treasure ship. Someone from the Radiant Demon Sect. Damn it! Yun Tan had just contacted the sect when he saw the figure in front of him. His face turned incomparably ugly. The white-robed figure looked similar to a human. However, his entire body was shrouded in light. His face was indifferent and arrogant. He looked down at Darkness Ling Xiao and Yun Tan with a trace of cold murderous intent in his eyes. It's actually the incarnation of a sage. Darkness Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He hadn't expected the Radiant Demon Sect to send a sage's incarnation to kill them. At this moment, he was even more certain that Luo Jun and the others must have betrayed them. Otherwise, the people from the Radiant Demon Sect wouldn't have arrived so quickly. Hand him over and I'll let you go. The incarnation of the Radiant Demon Sect's sage said indifferently as he pointed at Darkness Ling Xiao. Don't even think about it. Yun Tan gritted his teeth and said. At this moment, he was incomparably glad that he had already sent the news back to the sect. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had the chance to do so anymore. This was because the moment the incarnation of the Radiant Demon Sect sage appeared, he immediately unleashed a powerful sage energy that enveloped the entire void turbulence, isolating all information from being transmitted. Clearly, the Radiant Demon Sect was here for Darkness Ling Xiao. However, Yun Tan needed time. He needed to wait for the experts from the sect to arrive. Otherwise, if Darkness Ling Xiao died in the hands of the incarnation of the sage before the experts from the sect arrived, not only would Yun Tan fail, but he would also have to bear the wrath of the sage patriarchs in the sect. At that time, Yun Tan might just end up being smashed into pieces. Yun Tan calmed himself down and looked at the incarnation of the sage before him. He cupped his hands and said, "Greetings, Senior. Why are you blocking our way? This junior brother Ling Xiao is just a new disciple who hasn't joined the sect yet." I'm afraid he's of no use to you. If you need manpower, why don't I send you a few dozen or 100 of them another day? Yun Tan's posture was very humble and respectful. At the same time, he was thinking rapidly in his mind to find a way to stall for time. Don't waste your breath. I know he has the saint body of darkness. The dark demon sect has been suppressed by our radiant demon sect for so long. Don't even think about standing out. Today, he must come with me. If you dare to stop me, I don't mind sending you on your way. The incarnation of the sage said indifferently. The aura around him was as vast as the sea, and his eyes were filled with coldness. Chapter 14:22. The radiant demon sect and the dark demon sect were naturally at odds with each other. The teachings of the two sects were naturally different. The radiant demon sect believed that light was the origin of the demon Tao and also the birthplace of countless lives and billions of demons. On the other hand, the dark demon sect believed that the demons came from the darkness and headed towards the darkness. Everything began with darkness and ended with darkness. The radiant demon sect and the dark demon sect had been at odds with each other for so many years and had always been evenly matched. But since 1,000,000 years ago, a peerless genius of the Radiance demon sect had appeared out of nowhere, suppressing numerous geniuses of the devil world and sweeping through them unrivaled. With his peerless talent, he became the sect master of the Radiance demon sect. Ever since then, the Radiance demon sect had already started to suppress the dark demon sect. That was why the dark demon sect had been searching for the saint physique of darkness at all costs in order to contend with the sect leader of the Radiant demon sect. There were even rumors that the peerless sect leader of the Radiant demon sect was a peerless genius with the highest chance of becoming an emperor. The dark demon sect could imagine that once the sect leader became an emperor, the Radiant demon sect and the dark demon sect were at odds with each other. He would definitely annihilate the dark demon sect without hesitation. The dark demon sect had been searching for the saint physique of darkness, but the Radiant demon sect had also been suppressing the dark demon sect in all aspects. Once the news of the saint physique of darkness spread, the Radiant demon sect would definitely send out experts to eliminate him at all costs. Yun Tan complained in his heart. Although the white-robed old man in front of him was only the incarnation of a sage, he knew that the real body of the sage was probably rushing over here as well. Senior, I can't hand junior brother Ling Xiao over to you. Sorry for the offense. Yun Tan gritted his teeth and said. He only wanted to stall for time and wait for the experts in the sect to arrive. Boom! The void treasure ship shone brightly as Yun Tan pushed it to the extreme. This void treasure ship was a half-step sage treasure and had an extremely strong defense. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to travel through the void. Yun Tan could only hope that the void treasure ship could block the sage's clone as much as possible. Otherwise, they would really be in danger today. Streaks of black runes rose into the air. Mist filled the air and shrouded the entire void treasure ship. Streaks of lightning rose into the air and charged toward the saint's clone. You're courting death. The white-robed elder's expression was indifferent. Boundless light seemed to bloom in his eyes. A dazzling light covered the sky and earth, containing an incomparably vast power. The black fog in front of him was instantly annihilated, and those black runes also turned into nothingness. When the resplendent light landed on the ship, it immediately erupted with a thunderous boom. Rumble. The void treasure ship trembled violently, as if it couldn't withstand the white-robed old man's power. Damn it! Yun Tan's expression was extremely ugly. Although the white-robed old man before him was only a clone of a saint, his own strength was extremely terrifying. He was not someone they could contend against. If the spatial treasure ship was destroyed, the white-robed old man wouldn't even need to do anything. They would all be torn apart by the terrifying spatial turbulence. Break! Yun Tan gritted his teeth, and there was a trace of extreme pain in his eyes. A black bone talisman appeared in his hand. The bone talisman spun, flowing with an incomparably mysterious holy light. It seemed to be the origin of darkness, causing the surrounding void to tremble. The bone talisman instantly shot up into the sky and bloomed in the spatial turbulence. Endless black divine light annihilated in all directions, and a huge black hole appeared in front of the spatial treasure ship. The void that was imprisoned by the white-robed old man's domain instantly shattered. The spatial treasure ship seemed to have regained its freedom in an instant, and charged directly into the black hole. Void-breaking darkness Saint Talisman. The white-robed old man's eyes revealed a trace of surprise, and at the same time, he became a little solemn. The void-breaking darkness Saint Talisman was refined by an extremely terrifying saint ancestor of the Dark Devil sect. Legend had it that it could shatter the void and unleash a saint's attack. Even the white-robed old man had to quickly retreat. At the same time, his body was filled with holy light, and his saint power rose up, trying his best to resist the power of darkness. As a result, he could only watch as the spatial treasure ship entered the black hole and vanished into the chaotic streams of space. You can't escape. The white-robed old man's eyes were deep. After blocking the power of the void-breaking darkness Saint Talisman, his figure flashed and disappeared into the spatial turbulence. Rumble. This was a vast mountain range. Tall mountains pierced the sky, and black clouds shrouded it. There seemed to be lightning intertwining in the clouds. The spatial treasure ship rushed out of the void and quickly fled into the distance. Darkness Lingxiao's eyes were filled with amazement. When he saw the white-robed old man's attack, he had benefited a lot, as if some mysterious power was awakening in his body. A saint was indeed terrifying. Even if it was just a saint's clone, it was not something that an ordinary demon god king could contend against. Yun Tan's strength was extremely strong, but he was afraid that he could not even withstand a single attack from the white-robed old man. Junior brother Lingxiao, I will think of a way to divert that old man's attention. You escape first and head in the direction of the Dark Devil sect. The sect master and the elders will definitely come to your rescue. Yun Tan glanced at Darkness Lingxiao and gritted his teeth. Dark Soaring Firmament glanced at Yun Tan with some surprise. He was already used to the treachery and selfishness of the devil race. He was still a little unaccustomed to seeing Yun Tan resist the saint's clone for him. Senior brother Yun Tan, I'm afraid we can't escape. Darkness Lingxiao smiled faintly, and his expression was very calm. Rumble. As soon as his voice fell, a huge light hole instantly appeared in the sky. Endless light gushed out as if there was a mysterious celestial sound lingering. An extremely terrifying figure fell from the sky. Although it did not look very tall, the terrifying aura caused the surrounding void to tremble violently as if it would shatter at any time. A terrifying domain spread out in all directions, and it was as if the space had stopped at this moment. Yun Tan's expression instantly became extremely ugly, and there was even a trace of unconcealable fear. A saint had descended. It was not a saint's clone, but a real saint had descended. In order to kill the Saint of Darkness, the Light Devil sect did not hesitate to send a real saint. It was also an old man in a white robe. He had a pair of wings on his back, and his hair and beard were all white. His eyes were cold, and he looked high and mighty. His entire body exuded a holy aura, and he locked onto Darkness Lingxiao, Zhu Ganglai, and Yun Tan. Saint of Darkness, die. Chapter 1423. A saint comprehended the great Tao of heaven and earth, enlightened all living beings, and formed his own domain. Wherever he went, all living beings would submit and bow their heads. Therefore, in the face of the white-robed elder's attack, neither Darkness Lingxiao nor Yun Tan had the slightest ability to resist. They only felt as if they had been abandoned by the world. Boom! The spatial treasure ship exploded with a loud bang. Just the aftermath of the palm print was too much for it to bear. Darkness Lingxiao, Zhu Ganglai, and Yun Tan stood on the ground and looked up at the huge palm print in the sky. They were like ants looking up at a divine dragon. Their hearts were filled with a sense of powerlessness. So what if you're a saint? Even a saint can't make me submit. A blazing light burst out from Darkness Lingxiao's eyes. His gaze was sharp, and his entire person seemed extremely unruly. His entire body began to emit an extremely terrifying aura of darkness. Boom! Black divine light rose behind him, causing the sky and earth to change color. Endless lightning rose up as if it had turned into a vast domain of the way of thunder. This was the origin lightning. Under the pressure of the saint's palm, it seemed to have begun to transform and erupted with a power that caused the world to change color. The white-robed elder's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. Although he did not recognize the black lightning, he felt a faint threat from it. He suddenly felt that it was absurd. Darkness Ling Xiao was merely at the perfected devil heaven realm. He was not even a devil god king. How could he make him feel threatened? The gap between him and Darkness Ling Xiao was even greater than the gap between a divine dragon and an ant. Rumble. However, the vast origin source lightning seemed to have fused with the surrounding heaven and earth at this moment. The vast power of law erupted and suddenly collided with the white-robed old man's palm. The collision of black and white was like the explosion of a resplendent sun. Endless divine light swept out in all directions. Zhu Ganglai and Yun Tan were already in despair, but they suddenly realized that an extremely vast black hole had appeared above their heads. The black hole was surrounded by endless lightning, and it actually completely devoured the power of the white-robed elder's palm. Darkness Ling Xiao stood on the black hole as demonic qi rose around him. His black hair danced wildly, and his entire body exuded an extremely wild aura. Boom! The power in the black hole had accumulated to the extreme. At this moment, all of it poured into dark soaring clouds, pushing his aura to skyrocket. Demon God King, break through. Darkness Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with incomparable madness. With a loud roar, the terrifying aura around him completely erupted at this moment. His cultivation instantly broke through from the Devil Heaven realm to the Devil God King realm. My goodness, Master is indeed Master. How can he make a breakthrough in such a situation? Zhu Ganglia's mouth was wide open. His eyes were filled with disbelief as he muttered to himself. Junior brother Ling Xiao is indeed a genius. Yun Tan also laughed bitterly, feeling as if he had just survived a disaster. He did not expect junior brother Ling Xiao to be so powerful. Although he did not know what kind of power the origin lightning was, it was a miracle that he dared to borrow the power of a saint to help him break through. After all, if he wasn't careful, he would end up being smashed to pieces. As expected of the sacred body of darkness. You actually dared to use my power to break through. What you just unleashed should be some kind of innate magical power, right? I'm really getting more and more curious about you. The white-robed elder was so angry that he laughed. His eyes were filled with a blazing light as he looked at dark soaring clouds. Whoosh! He reached out his hand to grab dark soaring clouds again. The origin lightning had aroused his curiosity. At this moment, he was even more eager to capture dark soaring clouds alive to study the power of the origin lightning. Unfortunately, it's too late. Dark soaring clouds smiled faintly. His eyes were incomparably calm. This was because he had already sensed an incomparably terrifying power that quickly pierced through the void and exploded. The Dark Demon sect's reinforcements had finally arrived. How dare you capture my disciple? Who gave you the courage? A majestic and overbearing voice exploded in the void, exuding an incomparably terrifying murderous aura. Rumble. An incomparably terrifying demonic light rose. A terrifying fist print broke through the void and suddenly blasted toward the white-robed elder. Soul Empyrean Great Sage. The white-robed elder's body trembled. His eyes revealed an incomparably solemn look. He also slapped out with his palm. Bang! The black fist print exploded, directly sweeping away the light that filled the sky. Then, it shattered the white-robed elder's palm print and sent him flying thousands of feet away. He crashed heavily into dozens of mountains in the distance, smashing them into dust. A burly man in black armor with a terrifying aura stepped out of the void. His eyes were filled with an incomparably cold expression. His entire person seemed incomparably wild. Originally, in the perception of dark soaring clouds, Zhu Ganglai, and Yun Tan, the white-robed elder was like a resplendent sun, as if he was the center of this world. However, when this burly man in armor appeared, the white-robed elder's demeanor suddenly became incomparably dim. This burly man was like the devil's sun that eternally illuminated the devil world, immortal and vast. He was the sole Empyrean great sage, one of the strongest experts in the dark demon sect. The white-robed elder's expression changed drastically. He didn't expect the dark demon sect to react so quickly. It seemed like he wouldn't be able to kill dark soaring clouds today. He was extremely unwilling in his heart. That was the saint body of darkness. Once he entered the dark demon sect, he would definitely become a great threat to the radiant demon sect in the future. However, he also knew that if he didn't leave now, he would probably die here. The name of the sole Empyrean great sage had long been known throughout the devil world. Farewell, sole Empyrean great sage. The white-robed elder was very straightforward. After taking a deep look at dark soaring clouds, the light around his body surged. Holy radiance filled the air as he was about to disappear into the void. You want to leave without leaving anything after injuring my dark demon sect's disciple? The sole Empyrean great sage sneered. He took a step forward, crossing thousands of miles in an instant. He actually arrived in front of the white-robed elder and punched out. Kacha! Black lightning exploded. The white-robed elder's expression changed drastically. He tried his best to resist. The holy radiance around his body erupted to the extreme. However, the sole Empyrean great sage still chopped off one of his arms. Blood splattered across the sky. Sole Empyrean great sage, my sect master won't let you off. Sooner or later, you will definitely die. The white-robed elder roared. He couldn't care less about his arm and instantly disappeared into the void. I'll be waiting. Chapter 1424. Great Sage Soul Rapture felt a little regretful that he didn't manage to capture the white-robed old man. After all, the white-robed old man wasn't weak and was only slightly weaker than him. After reaching the Saint Realm, one could be said to possess remarkable abilities and an immortal body. Even if one's body was cut into thousands of pieces and his primordial spirit was shattered, he could still be reborn with a drop of blood and recover with a thought. Therefore, Great Sage Soul Rapture didn't manage to capture the white-robed old man. He only managed to capture his arm. That arm looked sparkling and translucent like a crystal. It exuded an incomparably majestic saint force and was mysterious and unfathomable. Great Sage Soul Rapture kept the arm and then his gaze fell on Dark Ling Xiao and Yun Tan. Especially after seeing Dark Ling Xiao, his eyes revealed a look of admiration. We can't stay here for long. Let's return to the sect first. He didn't allow any explanation and swept up Dark Ling Xiao, Zhu Ganglai and Yun Tan. Then, they instantly disappeared from this world. When Dark Ling Xiao opened his eyes again, he had already appeared in a strange world. Numerous floating mountains floated in front of Dark Ling Xiao. Their imposing manner was majestic and exuded a black demonic light. It was incomparably vast. There were many ancient palaces on those floating mountains. Powerful auras were faintly discernible. It was unknown how many experts lived on those floating mountains. On the distant land, there were many giant cities rising from the ground. There were countless experts of the demon race. There were thousands of them densely packed together. This was a strange world. Dark Ling Xiao could sense that this wasn't the demon realm. Great Sage Soul Rapture brought Dark Ling Xiao and the other two to a floating mountain. This was already the core area. Dark Ling Xiao could see that demon god kings were everywhere. Even saints weren't rare. Dark Ling Xiao could sense that there were at least 10 saints nearby. It seems like this is the Dark Demon Sect's territory. Dark Ling Xiao thought to himself. The 10 sects of the demon realm weren't located in the demon realm. Instead, they had their own independent small worlds. They were even refined into existences similar to magic treasures. It was incomparably safe. Even saints would face certain death if they barged in. The 10 sects of the demon realm were extremely terrifying. Almost all of them were the orthodoxies of demon emperors. Only great emperors had enough foundation to become an immortal holy land. Is your name Ling Xiao? It really is the sacred body of darkness. Great sage Soul Void stared at dark Ling Xiao, his eyes gleaming with a strange light. He was able to see through dark Ling Xiao. He could feel the darkness origin in Ling Xiao's body. It must be the sacred body of darkness, but he didn't know that the darkness origin in Ling Xiao's body actually came from the origin demon bone. Darkness Ling Xiao had already decided to make the best of his mistake. Therefore, he didn't explain anything to Great Sage Soul Rapture. He smiled faintly and said, "Senior, I am Ling Xiao." Yun Tan bowed respectfully to the Great Sage of Soul Empyrean and said, "Greetings, Master. Thank you for arriving in time. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to see you. Yun Tan, you've done well. You've done a great job in bringing Ling Xiao back. Cultivate well. I'll take you as my personal disciple once you break through to the half-saint realm." Great Sage Soul Empyrean looked at Yun Tan with satisfaction. "Thank you, Master." Yun Tan suddenly became excited. His eyes were filled with uncontrollable excitement. He was lucky enough to be accepted as a nominal disciple by Great Sage Soul Empyrean. However, Great Sage Soul Empyrean had 800 nominal disciples. However, he only had 3 personal disciples. It was said that these 3 personal disciples were at the peak of the half-saint realm. They were peerless geniuses who were about to become saints. Great Sage Soul Empyrean glanced at Darkness Ling Xiao and said, "Ling Xiao, are you willing to become my 4th personal disciple?" Darkness Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said without hesitation, "I'm willing." Disciple Ling Xiao greets Master. Darkness Ling Xiao had already inquired about Great Sage Soul Empyrean from Yun Tan. Great Sage Soul Empyrean had an extremely high status in the Dark Demon sect. He was a supreme elder. Even the sect master of the Dark Demon sect had to address him as martial uncle. Darkness Ling Xiao knew that Great Sage Soul Empyrean had brought him here to gain the advantage by striking first. He wanted to be the first to take him as a disciple. After all, the appearance of the sacred body of darkness wouldn't be limited to the sect master. Even the other supreme elders would be tempted. To Darkness Ling Xiao, the Dark Demon sect was only a springboard. It didn't matter who he took as his master. Moreover, Great Sage Soul Empyrean had saved his life. Ha ha ha. Good, very good. Disciple Ling Xiao, since you've taken me as your master, I'll bestow upon you a fortune. Consider it my gift for meeting you. Great Sage Soul Empyrean was also very happy. He immediately laughed and said, "Buzz." He took out the arm of the Radiant Demon Sect Saint. Black flames rose from Great Sage Soul Empyrean's palm. The glass-like arm slowly melted and began to condense into a resplendent bead that contained an incomparably vast amount of energy. The bead instantly flew into Darkness Ling Xiao's body and turned into an incomparably vast amount of energy. It actually pushed his cultivation to slowly increase. Although you've forcefully broken through using the power of the saint, your foundation is still unstable. I've refined the arm into this saint bead. As long as you completely refine it, not only will your cultivation be stabilized, but it will also help you rapidly reach perfection. Great Sage Soul Empyrean explained. Darkness Ling Xiao sat down cross-legged and began to refine the energy of the saint bead. Beside him, Yun Tan's face was filled with envy. That was the arm of a saint. A saint's entire body was filled with treasures. Even an arm contained an incomparably terrifying amount of energy. However, Great Sage Soul Empyrean had already erased the saint's will and turned it into the purest Saint Tao energy. It was extremely helpful to Darkness Ling Xiao. Just as Darkness Ling Xiao was refining the saint bead, the big shots of the Dark Demon sect quickly rushed over. However, they were destined to be disappointed. Great Sage Soul Empyrean had already taken Darkness Ling Xiao as his disciple. I'm already one step ahead of my main body. However, my main body should be entering the War God Temple soon. As my main body's strength increases, the risk of the wordless heavenly book being exposed will also increase. It seems like I have to make a big commotion and let the name Darkness Ling Xiao resound throughout the demon world. Perhaps it will help my main body attract more attention. Darkness Ling Xiao thought to himself as he refined the saint bead. The reason why he didn't use a pseudonym and openly used the name Darkness Ling Xiao was to attract the attention of those people in the divine world. It would be best if they would think that Darkness Ling Xiao had already arrived in the demon world. That way, it would reduce the pressure on his main body. Chapter 1425. On the 8th level of the God of War Pagoda in the divine world. Boom! The blood and qi in Ling Xiao's body was boiling, and streaks of divine light shot out from his limbs like sword qi. He had also awoken from his cultivation state. Behind him, an immortal figure stood in the midst of chaos. It was surrounded by countless stars and a golden dragon. Its aura was terrifying to the extreme. That was the power of the indestructible battle body and the divine dragon body. At this moment, Ling Xiao's body seemed to have reached a perfect balance. Crackle. Ling Xiao stood up slowly as his body crackled. His eyes shone brightly, and his aura was unparalleled. Has the darkness doppelganger entered the Dark Devil sect? It seems like I have to speed up. Ling Xiao thought to himself. Although the divine world and the devil world were separated by an endless space, Ling Xiao was still able to sense the darkness clone's condition. He also knew that the darkness clone had already passed the god-slaying convention and entered the Dark Devil sect, one of the 10 great sects in the devil world. The Dark Devil sect was on par with the 12 immortal sacred grounds of the divine world. In fact, they were even stronger. After all, the Dark Devil sect was the orthodoxy of the great emperor. Only a portion of the 12 immortal sacred grounds was the orthodoxy of the great emperor. Ling Xiao also had to hurry up and enter the God of War shrine. After 2 months of cultivation, Ling Xiao's physical body had become much stronger. He was also very close to the 5th level of the indestructible battle body. Under the 1000-fold gravity on the 8th level, Ling Xiao could move around freely. He could even run at high speed and practice his martial arts. However, Ling Xiao didn't challenge the 1000-fold gravity on the 9th level because the generational competition was about to begin. The generational competition of the Ares College was a grand event. Many disciples would compete against each other. It was something that the hot-blooded youths looked forward to the most. Ling Xiao left the God of War Pagoda. Xian Wang, Yap Liangchen, and the rest were already waiting outside. Big brother, you're finally out. The generational competition is about to begin. I thought that you weren't going to participate. Yap Liangchen heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Ling Xiao. I'm still waiting to kill that bastard Lu Wu. How can I give up on the generational competition? Let's go. Ling Xiao said with a smile. He could see that King Xian, Yi Liangchen, and the others' cultivation had improved very quickly. It was mainly because of the holy liquid that Ling Xiao had provided. Xian Wang and Yin Tiansong were already in the great circle of the heavenly god stage, while Yi Liangchen and Feng Ye had both reached the middle stage of the heavenly god stage. In the short span of 3 years, they had managed to raise their cultivation to such a level. This was enough to make the eyes of the older disciples of Ares College almost pop out of their sockets. Go! Ha ha ha! Big brother, this time, we're all waiting for you to sweep through the crowd and ascend to the top of the hidden dragon ranking. Yi Liangchen said with a smile. That's right. What Tian Gang? What Lu Wu? What 9 great kings? Kill them all. The black donkey also shouted loudly, as if it wanted to see the world in chaos. King Xian faintly smiled as well. The way he looked at Ling Xiao was filled with surprise, emotion, and anticipation. She had a premonition that after this generational competition, Ling Xiao would truly enter the ranks of the peerless geniuses. The period of hibernation was over, and the next step was to shine brightly and sweep through everything. He might be able to usher in a new era. Everyone headed towards the deity battle arena. The generational competition this time would be held in the deity battle arena. In the center of Ares College, in the vast square, 9 deity battle arenas had already appeared, exuding an ancient and powerful aura. On the square, many people were in high spirits, their eyes filled with anticipation. Almost all the disciples of Ares College had arrived. The generational competition was a grand event for Ares College. The top 9 of the Hidden Dragon ranking, the 9 Great Kings, were the focus of everyone's attention. However, on this day, other than the 9 Great Kings, there was another person who attracted everyone's attention. That person was Long Outyen. This disciple who had entered Ares College 3 years ago, the champion of the Great Void Trial, had improved by leaps and bounds, sweeping through everything. He had directly broken through to the great circle of the heavenly god realm. He had even slain the demon race in the mythical space, defeated many geniuses from Ares College and Overlord College, and even defeated one of the 9 Great Kings, Lu Wu. Everyone already believed that Long Outyen had the ability to enter the 9 Great Kings. The only difference was Long Outyen's ranking among the 9 Great Kings. Hence, when Ling Xiao and Xian Wang appeared on the square, they immediately attracted everyone's attention. He's Long Outyen. His aura doesn't seem strong. I wonder how he defeated Senior Lu Wu. Someone looked at Ling Xiao curiously. Don't be fooled by his appearance. Long Outyen has cultivated the indestructible combat body. It is said that he has already reached the 4th level of the 5 Vital Organs Palace. His physical body is terrifying. I saw the battle between him and Senior Lu Wu with my own eyes. It was too terrifying. That's right. Legend has it that Senior Lu Wu obtained the inheritance of a sage in a secret area. This time, he wanted to come back to fight for the Hidden Dragon ranking. He was the favorite to win the championship. Who would have thought that he would be defeated by Long Outyen? Could it be that Long Outyen also has the potential to win the championship? I'm afraid this kid is still lacking in the championship. After all, Lu Wu is only ranked 9th among the 9 Great Kings. The other 8 senior brothers and sisters are not to be trifled with. Especially senior brother Tiangang. He defeated King Kong from Overlord College and Ji Yuanlong from Great Zhou College. He is not someone Long Outyen can compare to. That's right. Senior brother Tiangang might have already broken through to the Divine King realm. No matter what, this is going to be a fierce battle. I'm really looking forward to it. Everyone was discussing animatedly. Their eyes were filled with excitement. The generational competition not only had great rewards, but more importantly, they would be able to spar with the other senior brothers. They would even be able to see the 9 Great Kings who were usually elusive. Moreover, after the generational competition, the senior brothers at the top of the Hidden Dragon ranking would enter the War God Shrine. At the front of the crowd, there were a few figures with powerful auras. There were both men and women. All of them were either dignified or had extraordinary auras. Their eyes seemed to be shooting out divine light. They were the 9 Great Kings, and when they saw Ling Xiao's figure, a strange look appeared in their eyes. The 9 Great Kings had been cultivating in the outside world. Some of them were exploring secret areas, while others were hunting demons. Basically, none of them were in the academy. Therefore, it was their first time seeing Ling Xiao. They were also very curious as to how this guy called Long Outyen defeated Lu Wu. Others might not know, but they were very clear that Lu Wu's strength was on par with theirs. There was only a fine line between the strong and the weak. Even if they wanted to defeat Lu Wu, it would not be so easy. Chapter 1426. I've heard that Long Outyen's indestructible war body has already reached the 4th level. It seems like his talent in body refinement is extremely strong. I'm afraid that other than big senior brother Tiangang, only junior sister Wang Lin can contend with him. A young man in a green robe sighed. He was in his 20s, with sharp eyebrows and bright eyes. He looked like an elegant young master. He was Zhou Daoji, ranked 2nd among the 9 Great Kings. His strength was unfathomable. Zhou Daoji looked at a girl in a long yellow dress. She had an extraordinary aura and left a deep impression on anyone who laid eyes on her. She was Wang Lin, the Hunyuan king, who was ranked third on the list. She cultivated the Hunyuan qi and was said to have an ancient bloodline. That's right. Junior sister Wang Lin's mixed element qi has reached the great completion stage a long time ago. Long Outyen is really strong. It's a pity that we didn't get to see his battle with Lu Wu. Otherwise, we would have been able to judge his true strength. A man in crimson armor with a head full of hair, looking very masculine and strong, laughed heartily. He looked at Ling Xiao with a strange look in his eyes. He was Lu Zhenfeng, the Blazing King. He cultivated the Blazing Sky Halberd technique, which was the legendary body of the fire god. Zhou Daoji and Wang Lin were good friends with Lu Zhenfeng, so they were very close to each other. Suddenly, an ear-piercing voice sounded. Long Outyen. He's just a disciple who has only been in the sect for 3 years. What can he do? I think Lu Wu is getting worse and worse. I don't know what right he has to be ranked as one of the 9 great kings. It was a young man in a black robe. He looked very handsome and his eyes were like lightning. There was a purple glow around him and he looked very arrogant. It was as if he didn't care about anything. Deng Gongjue, the king of thunder, was only ranked 8th among the 9 great kings. However, his true strength was terrifying. Zhou Doji frowned slightly but did not say anything. Wang Lin seemed to be distracted. She did not say anything to Zhou Daoji and Lu Zhenfeng. She looked around the crowd with anticipation in her eyes. When Lu Zhenfeng saw Wang Lin's appearance, he couldn't help but chuckle and say, Wang Lin, Big Dipper's senior brother will definitely come back. Don't act like a love-gazing rock, afraid that others don't know that you are interested in Big Dipper's senior brother. Zhou Daoji and Lu Zhenfeng both knew that Wang Lin had a crush on Big Shixiang Tiangang. However, Big Shixiang Tiangang was a martial arts maniac who only cared about cultivation and had no interest in romantic relationships. Despite that, Wang Lin was persistent in pursuing Big Shixiang Tiangang. So what if they know? Unlike a certain someone who only knows how to pretend to be weak in order to please eldest senior brother. Unfortunately, eldest senior brother completely ignored her. Wang Lin said faintly as she glanced at a woman standing not far away. It was a woman in a long white dress. She had a beautiful face and a tall figure. Her skin was as white as jade, and her eyebrows were as beautiful as a painting. She exuded a gentle temperament. Mysterious Yin King Min Ro, ranked 4th among the 9 great kings. She was the only female other than Wang Lin. Unfortunately, she was also Wang Lin's enemy. Min Ro seemed to have noticed Wang Lin's gaze. She turned around and nodded at her with a beautiful smile. Humph. Vixen. Wang Lin snorted and turned her head away arrogantly. Zhou Daoji and Lu Zhenfeng saw Wang Lin's reaction and shook their heads helplessly. Although Wang Lin was powerful, she was still like a child. She would always be jealous of Min Ro. However, the two of them did not dare to meddle in this matter. When a woman was jealous, it was very scary. Kaboom! Right at this moment, there was a resplendent flash of light in the void. A brilliant ray of light flew over from afar, traversing through the void with extreme speed. Very soon, it appeared in front of everyone. Big senior brother Tiangang is finally back. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and she smiled. In the void, a man dressed in beast skin appeared. He was about 10 feet tall and had a simple and honest face. His blood and chi surged around him like dragons and tigers coiled behind him. His entire person was like a primordial ferocious beast. Boom! He descended from the void like a bolt of lightning, causing the earth to tremble a few times. Everyone looked at him with incomparable reverence. This man was the number 1 on the Hidden Dragon leaderboard, Ares College's big senior brother Tiangang. He has the ancient bloodline. No wonder his physical body is so strong. Ling Zhao's eyes lit up. He could feel an ancient and mysterious aura from Tiangang. It was terrifying. He could feel that Tiangang's physical body was extremely strong. It made him feel like he was in danger. Tiangong's physical body was not weaker than his. Ling Xiao squinted his eyes. Tiangong's cultivation was still at the great circle of the heavenly god realm. However, if he was not wrong, Tiangong's immortal body had reached the 5th level. The 5th level was the triple deity transformation dragon. It was said that he could fight against a divine king. Ling Xiao wasn't looking forward to the generational competition at first. However, the moment he saw Tiangang, his fighting spirit was ignited. Tiangang was definitely a strong opponent. It's big senior brother Tiangang. Ha, big senior brother Tiangong's aura is getting stronger. It seems like big senior brother Tiangang has a great opportunity this time. I feel that big senior brother Tiangang is about to break through to the divine king realm. The hidden dragon leaderboard is definitely going to be him. That's right. Big senior brother Tiangang is extremely talented. No one can defeat him yet. The moment they saw Big Dipper, the entire Ares College's disciples started to get excited. Everyone's eyes were filled with fanaticism and worship. Big senior brother Tiangang had a high reputation in Ares College. He was the idol of many disciples. Tiangang was not a disciple of a big family. Legend had it that he was an orphan. He was raised by a female wolf in the mountains. Later on, he obtained a cultivation technique by chance. From then on, he soared to the sky. Later on, he passed the Great Void Trial and entered Ares College, becoming the Hidden Dragon leaderboard. Dean, I'm not late, right? Tiangang walked up to Ji Guyuan with a simple and honest smile on his face. You're not late. It seems like your cultivation has improved again. Ha ha ha. Good, very good. Chapter 1427. Tiangang was extremely powerful, and he was publicly acknowledged as the #1 person in Ares College. Even many of the elders weren't his match. Although Tiangang had yet to break through to the Divine King realm, many Divine Kings had already been defeated by him. Ji Guyuan had high hopes for Tiangang and hoped that he would be able to achieve good results in the upcoming Academy tournament. Even the other 8 kings looked at Tiangang with solemn gazes. Although there were many people who wanted to replace Tiangang's position over the years, no one had ever succeeded. Although Tiangang looked simple and honest, he was extremely terrifying in battle. His powerful battle strength shattered the confidence of all the disciples who dared to challenge him. Boom! A resplendent divine light spread out as Ji Guyuan, the vice principals, and the elders all sat down on a high platform in the distance, each of them emitting powerful auras. Many of the elders and referees were already in place, and the generational tournament could begin at any time. Everyone, our Ares College's generational tournament that occurs once every 60 years is about to begin. In this generational tournament, the college has provided generous rewards for everyone. As long as you have enough strength, you will be able to obtain everything you desire. Ji Guyuan stood up, and as his voice spread throughout the huge plaza, all the disciples quieted down. Ji Guyuan smiled and continued, this generational tournament will be the same as the previous ones. The top 9 of the Hidden Dragon ranking will inherit the 9 kings' positions, and the rules for the challenges will be the same as before. Those who are ranked lower on the Hidden Dragon ranking can challenge those who are ranked higher, while those who are ranked higher cannot challenge those who are ranked lower. Everyone will have 3 chances to challenge those who are ranked higher, and the winner will automatically replace the loser in the Hidden Dragon ranking. This time, there were 2 major rewards. The first was for the top 100 of the Hidden Dragon ranking. The champion of the Hidden Dragon ranking would receive 100 drops of holy liquid, 1 free entry into the Martial Repository Tower, and 1 year of free access to the deity's lake and God of War Pagoda. The 2nd to 9th place on the Hidden Dragon ranking would receive 50 drops of holy liquid and a God of War Pagoda. The 10th to 30th place would receive 20 drops of holy liquid and a God of War Pagoda of their choice. The second reward is the reward for the top 100 rankers with the most improvements. The first ranker will be rewarded with 100 drops of holy liquid, a half-saint treasure, and a free entry into the Martial Depository Tower. The 2nd to 10th rankers will be rewarded with 30 drops of holy liquid and a godly king weapon. The 11th to 50th rankers will be rewarded with 20 drops of holy liquid and a godly king pill of their choice. In a single breath, Ji Guyuan announced the rules of the generational competition and its arrival. Wang! With a wave of his sleeve, a resplendent light immediately appeared in the void. There was a translucent sacred liquid that was as resplendent as the sun. There were also powerful weapons and precious pills. There were all sorts of treasures. Many disciples were in an uproar. In the previous years, the rewards for the top 100 in the Hidden Dragon ranking were always given out. However, this year, there was an additional reward for the top 100 who improved their ranking the most. This immediately caused many disciples to become excited. For example, if the person ranked 8,000th place could defeat the great senior brother Tian Gang, his ranking would increase by 8,000 and he would be the undisputed number 1. This was good news for the new disciples who had just entered the sect. Maybe some of them would be lucky enough to directly enter the top 100. However, everyone looked at Ling Xiao at the same time. They knew that Ling Xiao was ranked 8,601st on the Hidden Dragon ranking. However, Ling Xiao definitely had the battle prowess of the top 10. It seemed like Long Outyen would be the one who would receive the most rewards this time. That was 100 drops of sacred liquid and 1 half-step saint artifact. Moreover, he could enter the martial repository and choose any martial art to cultivate. Many disciples looked at Ling Xiao with envy and jealousy. Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. He understood Ji Guyuan's intentions. Ji Guyuan probably knew that the astral tournament was about to begin. That was why he did not hesitate to give out so many rewards. It was to motivate the disciples to work hard and prepare for the upcoming astral tournament. The rewards for the first place were quite attractive to Ling Xiao. At the very least, he would have a better chance of breaking through to the Divine King realm. Alright. I won't say anything more. Next, I announce the start of Aries College's generational tournament. Ji Guyuan said with a smile, then retreated. 9 sacred battle arenas appeared in front of the crowd. Everyone's eyes were filled with excitement. I'll go first. Chao Kun, ranked 3,681st on the Hidden Dragon ranking. Senior Brother Lu, I challenge you. A young man in a black robe impatiently stepped onto the sacred battle arena and said coldly to a young man below. His cultivation was at the early heavenly god realm. Senior Brother Lu was a white-robed youth. He looked elegant and was also at the early heavenly god realm. However, his aura was somewhat obscure. His name was Lu Yuan, ranked 3,101st on the Hidden Dragon ranking. He was more than 500 ranks higher than Chao Kun. Junior Brother Chao, you are not my match. Why do you want to humiliate yourself? Lu Yuan smiled faintly. Lu Yuan, you despicable hypocrite. That bitch Wang Lan dared to hook up with you behind my back. This enmity is absolutely irreconcilable. Although I can't kill you today, I will make sure you suffer a fate worse than death. Chao Kun said with bloodshot eyes. Everyone's expression suddenly became strange. Although everyone knew that during the generational competition, many disciples would become enemies, but they didn't expect that Chao Kun and Lu Yuan would become jealous over a woman, and even fight over it. Interesting. Ha! Big brother, who do you think will win? Yi Liangchen was eager to have a try. He looked at Chao Kun and Lu Yuan with a gloating look. Chao Kun, I think. I can sense the aura of lightning around him. He must have cultivated the 5 Thunder Heavenly Spirit technique. Ling Xiao's eyes glowed as he said calmly. The 9 great techniques of Aries College required a considerable amount of contribution points. Ordinary disciples could not afford to exchange for them. However, if one practiced the 9 great techniques, they would have a huge advantage in battle. After all, the 9 great techniques were extremely powerful and were the strongest martial arts essence of Aries College. 5 Thunder Heavenly Spirit Technique? That's interesting. Yi Liangchen was slightly taken aback as he nodded his head. Boom! Chao Kun and Lu Yuan had already started fighting. They exchanged blows and the battle was intense. Chao Kun and Lu Yuan were both using the God of War King Fist. However, it was obvious that Lu Yuan's mastery of the God of War King Fist was higher than Chao Kun's. Chapter 1428. You've cultivated the Five Thunder Heavenly Spirit technique? How is that possible? Lu Yuan's expression changed as a look of disbelief appeared in his eyes. However, the speed of the punch was too fast. Moreover, Chao Kun had unleashed the power of the Five Thunder Heavenly Spirit technique when he least expected it. Lu Yuan could not block it at all. Soon, Chao Kun's punch sent him flying while coughing out blood. Wang Lan, you bitch. Is this the pretty boy you've hooked up with? What a loser. Ha ha ha. Chao Kun looked at the pretty girl below and laughed coldly. He then kicked Lu Yuan out of the divine battlefield arena. He had won the battle and had even risen by more than 500 ranks. Lu Yuan coughed out blood continuously. After hearing Chao Kun's words, he fainted from anger. Chao Kun then challenged 2 more disciples. However, this time, he chose to be more conservative. In the end, he won both battles and rose to the 2,872nd place on the Hidden Dragon ranking. Other than Chao Kun's Divine Battlefield Arena, the other Divine Battlefield Arenas were also filled with intense battles. Whether it was those who held grudges against each other, or those who simply wanted to challenge their senior brothers and sisters to make a name for themselves, all of them began to fight. However, the 9 great kings did not make a move. No one dared to challenge them. On Ling Zhao's side, Fang Sheng also made a move. Although Fang Sheng's cultivation was only at the mid-heavenly god realm, he had cultivated the indestructible war body. Moreover, he had already reached the 3rd stage. His physical body was extremely strong. In the end, he won all 3 battles. In the 3rd battle, Fang Sheng defeated a late heavenly god realm expert and replaced him on the ranking, entering the 203rd place on the Hidden Dragon ranking. One should know that Fang Sheng's previous ranking was around 5,000. Now that he had risen to the 203rd place on the Hidden Dragon ranking, many people were stunned. Ha ha ha. Senior brother Long, I'll give it a try too. Yin Tiansong could no longer hold back and began to challenge the others. Yin Tiansong's cultivation had already reached the great circle of the heavenly god realm. His cultivation speed was extremely fast. Moreover, he had cultivated one of the 9 great techniques, the mixed Yuan Qi. Together with his 5 elements heaven escape technique, he could unleash an extremely powerful force. The first opponent that Yin Tiansong chose to challenge was still considered conservative. It was a late-stage heavenly god disciple. Of course, he won without a doubt. His ranking instantly rose to the 300th place. In his second challenge, Yin Tiansong directly challenged a great circle heavenly god realm disciple. That disciple cultivated the burning sky halberd technique, which was extremely powerful. However, Yin Tiansong's 5 elements heavenly escape technique was too strange and unpredictable. In the end, after several hundred rounds of battle, Yin Tiansong still won, and his ranking rose to 158th. Suddenly, many people noticed Yin Tiansong. Oh my god, Long Out Yen is so perverted, why are the people around him so perverted as well? Who the hell was this Yin Tiansong? I've never heard of it before. Isn't it? It seems like Yin Tiansong was only at the true god stage 3 years ago. In just 3 years, he has risen to the full circle of the heavenly god stage. Is he still going to let others live? Could it be that this guy really wants to enter the top 100? That's hard to say. However, the senior brothers in the top 100 are all in the great perfection heavenly god realm. Moreover, their strength is extremely terrifying. I'm afraid it won't be that easy. The crowd discussed animatedly as they looked at Yin Tiansong with eyes full of shock. Forget about Fengya and Yu Yangchen by Ling Zhao's side. They were only in the middle stage of the heavenly god stage now, so it was not too frightening. However, there was also Xian Wang who was in the great perfection heavenly god stage. Many people were guessing how high Xian Wang would be able to enter the Hidden Dragon leaderboard. For the third challenge, Yin Tiansong chose to challenge Wu Shuangchuan, the disciple who was ranked 100. Wu Shuangchuan was a veteran in the Great Perfection Heavenly God stage. He cultivated the mixed element spirit and 5 mountain divine palm. Moreover, he had reached the lesser mastery stage in both of them. His strength was unparalleled. Yin Tiansong's battle was extremely difficult. After all, although his cultivation was in the Great Perfection Heavenly God stage, he was still slightly weaker than Wu Shuangchuan. However, the 5 elements heaven teleportation technique was extremely mysterious. Ling Xiao even guessed that the 5 elements heaven teleportation technique was very likely to be a supreme saint technique that was extremely compatible with Yin Tiansong's physique. Therefore, although Yin Tiansong was at a disadvantage, he could still hold on with the 5 elements heaven teleportation technique. The two of them fought for over 1,000 rounds. Yin Tiansong remembered Ling Xiao's words and fought steadily. In the end, Wu Shuangchuan couldn't hold on any longer. Yin Tiansong finally found a flaw in his opponent's defense and defeated him. Yin Tiansong finally made it to the 100th place on the Hidden Dragon ranking. This time, everyone was shocked. Yin Tiansong had risen from the 8,000th place to the 100th place on the Hidden Dragon ranking. At the very least, he would be in the top 10 of the Hidden Dragon ranking. Thinking about the generous reward, everyone's eyes were filled with envy and jealousy. Old Yin, not bad. You actually made it to the top 100. Yi Liangchen patted Yin Tiansong's shoulder as the two of them laughed heartily. It's all thanks to Senior Brother Long's guidance. Hee hee. Yin Tiansong was naturally overjoyed. He had already used up his 3 chances to challenge others. The only thing he had to pay attention to now was to defeat those who wanted to challenge him and maintain his ranking on the Hidden Dragon ranking. Yin Tiansong's challenge made Fengya and Yu Yangchen eager to give it a try. Fengya had the wind spirit constitution. Ling Xiao allowed her to cultivate the 7 forms of judgment. Fengya's improvement in the 7 forms of judgment was lightning fast and she had already reached the minor accomplishment realm. On the other hand, Yi Liangchen cultivated the seal of light. Although he was sloppy when it came to cultivation, his improvement in the seal of light was very fast. It seemed to be very compatible with Yi Liangchen's constitution. Fengya and Yi Liangchen quickly won 2 rounds. Fengya rose to the 620th place on the Hidden Dragon ranking while Yi Liangchen rose to the 600th place. Big brother, what do you think if I challenge those in the top 100? Yi Liangchen said excitedly. He was actually aiming for the top 100 on the Hidden Dragon ranking. Ling Xiao pondered for a moment and said with a smile, sure. I think you might even be able to make it to the top 10, let alone the top 100. Why don't you try? Yi Liangchen was in the mid-heavenly god realm. If he challenged a disciple in the late heavenly god realm, he should be able to defeat them easily. However, Yi Liangchen could not be judged by common sense. This guy had the body of misfortune. Ling Xiao believed that he could even defeat a divine king, let alone a great circle heavenly god. Yi Liangchen coughed dryly and said, Big brother, stop joking around. I am no match for those in the top 10. However, after getting Ling Xiao's approval, Yi Liangchen's confidence was boosted. He jumped onto the battle ring and said proudly, who is the 99th place on the Hidden Dragon ranking? I want to challenge you.